holding fast on our dreams. City to city, moving at the same speed. Beauty is skin deep, looking for the in-between. It doesn't take just anything to bring out the extreme. We live to keep it going. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead at a force out. We run and go. For us it's in our phone. It's run and go. Oh. We live to keep it going. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead at a force out. We run and go. For us it's in our phone. It's run and go. Oh, 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 it's running. It's running.
Hey, how you doing? Jeff C here. No more Jeff C for today. It's John the Bond here on the 23rd of January 2016, about 1 p.m. Brisbane time, and this is the Jeffrey vs. JLB Aftershow live. Now, of course, I did just have a debate or a bit of a discussion with my old friend / arch nemesis, Jeffrey C of Free Radio Revolution, now going by the name New World Agenda, I believe, and I think it was about a 2.5 hour show. I'm not too sure, but time went very quickly. Then I had a quick break, went for a bit of a shower, and I've come back now, and I'm just going to do a quick after show, maybe an hour. But I always say it's going to be an hour, and then it tends to be like 3-4 hours, whatever. So who knows where this one's going to go? But I scheduled this ahead of the one with Jeffrey because I didn't know where that one was going to go. I didn't know if he was planning to get me on the show and then pull some silly business or start being foolish and interrupting, whatever. But he was actually, I think, for the most part, by his standards, pretty respectful, pretty polite. So we managed to get a fair bit discussed. It was still mostly him talking, especially for the first hour. But I think for the last hour, I did manage to get a few important points in there. And yeah, overall, I thought it went a lot better than it could have. You never know what you're getting yourself into when you go on somebody else's channel, but it wasn't too bad. But the point is, I set up this after show just in case I had to quickly switch to a new channel. And I guess the other benefit was that it gave you guys a chance to chat during the show because Jeffrey didn't want the chat to be on for his show. Now, for those of you who are wondering, the introduction song for today was Viora Run. I hope I'm pronouncing that one properly. Maybe our old friend Timmy Osmond can correct me later on in the show. I might be joined by some other people later on in the show. I haven't decided yet. I really just thought I'd, like I said, leave this option here, and I've taken up the option to do the show. So who knows where it's going to go. So the live chat option is available. And for those of you who cry or whinge or complain when the trolls troll in the live chat, then don't even bother going there because someone's bound to say something you don't like. Someone's bound to start trolling. They do it to get a rise out of you. So just don't let them. Just ignore them. That's what I would say, but it's up to you. I might set somebody as a moderator. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set old Matty V Phuket, Thailand as a moderator. How's that sound? Bang. Done. There you go, mate. Just don't ban anyone who doesn't deserve it, you know? Like, just chill out, all right? Take it easy. And I might make someone else a moderator as well later on, but I can't really moderate and do my show at the same time. Now, let's get into the business. Then it was a 2.5 hour show with Jeffrey. I was taking notes as we were talking, but there was so much to try and cover. There were certain periods where he'd speak for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'd have 5 or 10 different points to make. I'd reply to 1 or 2, and then he'd interject, and I didn't get to make the other points. So I wouldn't even know where to start with this piece of paper. But I guess he wanted to discuss were the existence of paid shills on YouTube and Ball Earth skepticism. Now, what I found particularly interesting was that during the discussion of Ball Earth skepticism, it was me who was pointing out all of the problems with the flat Earth theory, if you like, as well as the fact that it's turned into a cult, which it totally has, and I picked it months ago. So I was the one talking about that stuff. He just wanted to talk about me, right? Which, you know, if you couldn't see what was going on there, I can't help you. And then when I asked him for his evidence, what's your evidence that paid shills exist? Well, we've got this article from the mainstream media. Okay, yeah. And what else? Oh, we've got this thing that was written by a guy who works for the government. Yep. And why do you have access to it? Like, why is this information getting to you? Oh, it was leaked. It was leaked, was it? Yeah, it was leaked, like the Snowden leaks. The Snowden? What are you saying that the Snowden thing was like a legitimate thing? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. What the boy? Oh boy, I don't even know where to start with that kind of nonsense. So yeah, hey, listen, there could be paid shills on YouTube. Hey, for all you know, I was just chatting with one on his channel. It's possible, but do you actually have any evidence that these people are paid? I mean, did you listen to Jeffrey speak for like that, what was it, 30, 40, 50-minute period where he was talking about he was under constant attack and they were coming after him? And, you know, a year ago, I actually believed that was real, that he was a genuine guy who was getting attacked. And now I think to myself, man, this is a classic case of, like, this is not just ego. This is actually the kind of paranoia that they stereotype all truthers as having. And it's like, man, this is sad. It's like old mate Kaham who keeps calling me a paid shill. And then you think about it, hold on, that's her main interest in all of this, whether you call it conspiracy theory or research or whatever. Her main interest is this idea of, oh, the shills want to get us. We're so important. So important. And another thing too, usually I don't swear in my shows, or at least I try to avoid it. This is the after show, so I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with my language, because the truth is that usually I do swear a lot, okay? I do. I just have to tone it down for my live shows, and I think usually I'm pretty good at it. But today I'm just freewheeling, so if I do swear a little bit and you don't like swearing, then tune out right now, just in case I do start going down that path. And anyway, yeah, getting back to our old friend Kaham, yeah, we're so important they're sending paid shills to do live shows and whatever. Guys, have you checked how many people are watching these videos? Eh? Like a few thousand, right? A few thousand. Like even the main flat earth shows, yeah, they'll get, say, 15,000 for that Bonacci clown when he was a guest on Patricia Steer's show. But usually what's she getting? I don't know, 5,000. And Globebusters, what are they getting? 4,000. You know what I mean? And good on them too. Like, that's still amazing for independent people to get that kind of, a listenership. That's still amazing. I'm not trying to take away from it. But do you actually think that this is big enough or important enough for them to send agents, let's just call them agents, to come down here, pretend to be regular truthers, start channels, do vodka, like, and don't get me wrong, I guess I am kind of trying to mock you, but I'm mocking me too, because I used to believe that crap. I fully used to believe it. I'm telling you right now, that Jeffrey, as I call him, I'm telling you, this time, maybe not this time last year, the middle of last year, I believed that he was a paid shill, because I thought to myself, man, like, I just took it for granted that paid shills existed. And then I looked at the people who were prominent in this scene, and he's the most obvious candidate to be a shill, always dividing, always distracting, always disrupting, spreading fear. I mean, if you can't tell that this guy is like a poor man's Alex Jones, fear, don't use YouTube, fear, you know what I mean? Like, it's just constant fear. It's genuine, it's like a genuine fear-based meme. These shills are everywhere meme. So yeah, disrupting, dividing, distracting, spreading fear, not really giving any new information about anything important. I mean, he specifically didn't want to talk today about NASA fakery, the Holo hoax, or no planes on 9/11. Those topics are off limits for him. So you go through this list and you think, man, this is the most obvious paid shill on YouTube. But that's only if you believe there are paid shills in the first place. When you start questioning that fundamental premise, it's like, actually, I mean, there could be. Okay, of course there could be, but fuck, man, why would you bother? Seriously. I mean, what, 3,000, 5,000? And then of those 3,000, 5,000, how many are actually doing any genuine research? I mean, really, no, watching YouTube videos is not doing research. And hey, I said at the start of the year with that video on my extra channel, if you don't like people challenging your views, unsubscribe right now, because I'm not going to be wearing the kiddie gloves anymore. People need to hear this. If you think you're a genuine researcher who just watches YouTube videos, you're not a genuine researcher. And if you say, oh, but John, I watch your videos are good. Yeah, but if you don't double check what I'm saying, then you might as well be watching Fox News or CNN. And I'm serious there. Like, I couldn't be more serious about this. If you just watch my videos and just believe what I say and don't double check it for yourself, don't go and do your own research, then as far as I'm concerned, I'm quite serious here. You're no different to me than the people who watch CNN and Fox News. I'm not joking here. I'm being 100% serious. If you just watch YouTube videos, even if they're mine, and just believe them without double checking, you are to me what the people who watch Fox News are to me. I'm 100% serious here. You might be a good person, you might be a bad person. I don't know. That's up for you to decide. But as far as I'm concerned, the people who I'm interested in discussing things with and talking to online and in real life, I'm not interested in talking to people who just watch videos and think that's research. That's ridiculous, man. And I'm telling you right now, what, 3,000, 5,000 people watching a video or a show, listening to a podcast, the vast majority of them are not doing any research. This is just entertainment for them. And hey, that's cool too. Like, you're allowed to just listen to this for entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, we've all at 50, 60, 70 years here. If you're not doing anything productive with it, then you're going to need entertainment. And hey, what's a 2-hour, 3-hour podcast? Listen, be entertained. You know, whatever. I don't care. But the point I'm trying to make is people see these 3,000, 5,000 numbers. A, they don't realize how insignificant that is in the grand scheme. But B, they don't realize that of the 3,000 to 5,000 or whatever the number it is, the vast majority of those don't matter anyway. You know, we're talking about a very small group of people who are actually doing genuine independent research, synthesizing new ideas, putting out content that's going to help, you know, improve the conversation or extend the conversation, or, you know, improve our research or extend the research. It's a small group of people. And yes, I include myself in that group. And if you don't like that, then fuck off right now. I don't care anymore. Seriously, guys. I'm not here to mollycoddle you, wear kitty gloves. If you don't like me saying, yes, I'm doing real research, I'm putting it out there, and that if you are or not, that's up to you. But if you're not, then you're not. So let's not pretend otherwise. You don't want to hear that, then tune out right now. It's as simple as that. So with all of that said, let me think. What can we do now? That's right. So there were a few people lately who have come out and decided that they were sucked in to the flat earth movement, the flat earth cult, the flat earth, whatever it is. And now they've realized that they were sucked in. Now they've come out and gone the complete other way. And they've started saying things like, Red's rhetoric is a smart guy, or he knows his stuff, or, dude, that's embarrassing, man. I mean, and by the way, most of the shows that I do, I try and do them in a way that they'll still be relevant in 5 or 10 years, even if people don't know the context of the conversation. In this one, I'm going to be a little bit more freewheeling. So if you're listening to this in 6 or 12 months and you don't get some of my references or some of my impersonations or some of the specific cases that I'm talking about, I apologize in advance, but this is a live show that, yeah, it'll stay up on my channel, but it's really meant more for the now, more for the live listeners than it is for the archive listeners. I'll still try and keep the context where I can, but when I say things like, come on, dude, give me a break, man, I'm making references to people who might not be around in 6 to 12 months, so you might not understand the reference. But I'm being serious here, guys. Listen, I think your intentions are good. I think you genuinely want to know the truth. And I think you're genuinely willing to do your own research. So right there and then, you're already in the top, 5-10% of people on YouTube to begin with. Good intentions, actually doing research. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, we're all on the same team here. But for you to turn around and say, oh, these people fooled me into believing in flat Earth, and now I'm going to, go schizo and start believing in the spinning ball Earth model again. Guys, you got to be smarter than that. What the hell? Like, can you not see the false dichotomy here? You were brought up on one side of the false dichotomy. You jumped onto the next side. The smart thing to do isn't to then jump back to the first side. It's just to jump away from the false dichotomy. You see what I'm saying? And this is so obvious to me. This is so common sense to me. I think to myself, man, I'm listening to people. They sound intelligent. They sound like they might even be more intelligent than me. But I've worked this out. How come? Like, why can't people see this shit? Like, what is going on? How come people can't see what is so obvious to me? And the first option, if I was a Jeffrey C kind of guy, I'd be like, well, it's just because I'm so smart. That's why they can't see what I see, because I'm so smart. But I know that I'm not that smart. I know that I'm just a regular guy. So then I think, it's not that I'm smart and that these people just aren't capable. They're capable, but they're in some kind of a delusion, whether it's an emotional delusion, a spiritual, psychological delusion. I don't know what's going on, but they're not acting based out of logic or reason. They're acting based out of emotional, things like emotions. And that's why they're saying and doing some really dumb shit lately. And I've got a bad feeling it's only going to get worse. So my message is, and you people know who you are, and hey, maybe some of you will even come on the show later on today. My message to you is, if you've let this affect you emotionally to the point of acting out in anger or in envy or in any of these base emotions, and hey, we all get emotional. I get emotional. We all get emotional. That's natural. There's no problems with that. But if you then decide you're going to go on the attack against people while you're still emotional, I say, hey, man, you're not thinking. You know what I mean? You don't go out and get involved in conflicts when you're emotional. You're not going to be thinking straight. And it seems like you guys are looking for conflicts while you're still emotional. It's not going to help you. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm telling you right now, and I'll still be here in 6 months. I might not be doing as many videos, whatever, but I'll still be here. Okay, I'm never throwing a hissy fit and saying, "Oh, I'm out of here. Fuck you guys." No, this is my channel. This is where I put up information that I've been researching. The process of making a video is very beneficial for me. All right, so even if I was putting these videos up and no one was watching, it'd still be worth doing them because of how much I get out of the process of making a video. I have to do the research, then you have to do the scripting, then you have to read the script. Usually I fuck a few things up, so I've got to reread certain parts. So I'm really internalizing what it is that I've written down. Then I've got to edit it. Usually it takes me a couple of run-throughs with the editing, even for a 15-minute video. Next thing you know, I've spent 4 or 5 hours of doing something, and that's a good way to learn information. That's a good way to retain information. So I'm really getting something from this. So I don't care if the rest of the so-called truth movement or the rest of the flat earth cult, or I don't care. I don't really give a fuck what the rest of you people do. And if you're not doing research, it don't matter to me. And the few of you who are doing research, you'll still be here in 6 months. You'll still be here in 12 months. You're here for the right reasons. You'll still be here. So I'm not worried about you. I'm not worried about offending you. I can't offend you. If you know you're here for good reasons and you know that you're doing good work and you know that you're being as productive as you can be, you're not getting offended by anything I say, especially if you've never met me. But those of you who are getting offended, why is John saying this? Well, the reason is very simple. It's because it's true and you know it's true and that's why you're getting offended. It's as simple as that. So getting back to my point, I'll still be here in 6 months. I'll still be here in 12 months. And I'll tell you right now, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve by lashing out against people when you're emotional, you're not going to achieve it. All you're going to do is make things worse for yourself. You're going to get deflated. You're going to feel dejected. And that's exactly what I heard in that podcast the other night. You know, like I have to work during the day, unfortunately, these days. So I couldn't listen to the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes impromptu, let's do this show at the same time as Tim's show to distract people away from them, which is a terrible plan show. I couldn't listen to that live. Couldn't listen to Tim's after show live. And the after show started really well. Started with some cool music and started with some guys who were like, we're going to debunk the flat earth. And then by the end of the show, 2 hours later, man, I felt like I'd just been at a funeral. I was like, Jesus, man, you guys are really letting it get to you this much? Geez, man. Like, I think some of the people who are 100% flat earth, I think they're too emotionally invested. Absolutely no doubt about it. But I think you guys might be as well. So that's all I've got to say about that for now. I'll probably discuss more of it later if any of those gentlemen want to join me on the show. I haven't been reading the live chat for the last few minutes. I've just been chilling out here in the room with the computer. And yeah, man, that 2.5 hours went real quick. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I might see if I can find a bit of break music so I can make a few notes and maybe give myself some stuff to talk about when I come back. But what are we up to? What's the live audience at? 50 people? No, that's not too bad. I'll take that. That's all right. We've got about, 220 on Jeffrey's channel, watching the live debate, discussion, whatever you want to call it. That was interesting. I'll tell you what we'll do. For the first little change up of pace, let's check out the live chat. Who's in there? What are they saying? Let's have a look. We've got a whole bunch of people. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look. They have proofs, just no model, and can't work out how the stars work. That's from AK47, who I think is talking about the flat earthers. And let's keep going through the list here, shall we? Cognitive dissonance says there is more evidence that they exist than they don't. Cool, let's see the evidence. Is it going to be more from The Guardian, from Cass Sunstein, and from Edward Snowden? Is that your evidence? Because if it is, that's fine. I'm happy to skip that. You can have it. Sav79 says that there must be pandemonium at the Jeffrey C. and Press Reset camp as we speak. May we have a moment's silence for their irrelevance. Man, you know what was funny, Sav? I saw that in the promo that Jeffrey did for the debate, which he uploaded, I don't know, 12 hours ago, 10 hours ago, within the last 24, that one of the first people to comment was old mate Jeffy Poo. And I forgot to say, the thing is, Jeffrey says that, they're talking about stuff that makes us all look crazy. Well, firstly, there isn't an us, okay? The flat earth, or the truth, so-called truth community, it's all just a myth. It's in people's minds. It's nonsense. But even if there was a truth community, you know what would make it look silly? People going around saying that there are secret moon bases, like secret bases on the other side of the moon. That would be what would make us look silly. And guess who once said that live on the air? I think it might have even been on my channel. Well, it was old Pressy Poo, wasn't it? Yes, moon bases, secret moon bases on the other side. Oh, my God, give me a break, man. And these guys are trying to tell other people that that they're here for the truth to make everything look good. It's the other people like John the Bon who are making it look silly. Yeah. Well, you guys keep believing your secret moon bases and that the moon landings were real and that Edward Snowden is a genuine whistleblower. You guys keep believing that. You can have that audience. Whoever believes that nonsense, you can have them. That's the kind of audience you guys deserve. So have them, keep them. You'll be happy. You'll be very happy together. It'll be a good little relationship. So let's carry on. Okay, that's a troll account. Alrighty then. Max Malone says, JLB, I watched the whole thing and I am exhausted. Yeah, well, I mean, I can understand 2.5 hours, but it goes quick. It goes so quick, man, especially when you're taking notes and stuff. Anyway, plus it's morning time here. It was. It's now almost 1:30 in the afternoon. Let's see. Cognitive dissonance says, if it's just entertainment to most, and you know that, why do you waste your time? That's actually a very valid question. I have asked myself, and that's one of the reasons why I spend less time trying to do entertaining shows. Like you might have noticed, I don't do weekly shows anymore, because what I've noticed is the weekly shows, yeah, they're a lot of fun and there are some good listeners, but basically what you're doing is providing free entertainment for an audience who mostly don't deserve it. And that's one of the things that put me off. I mean, with the Baller Skeptic Roundtable, I used to, try and put a bit of color into it, and the same with the ARP. Try and put a bit of color into it, and make the show entertaining. And of course, the idea is you make it entertaining, more people will listen, and they'll listen to the important pieces of information that you think are worth listening to, and then hopefully they'll go and do their own research. And like the whole idea behind what I was doing still makes sense, but I think ultimately there were too many people getting free entertainment, people who I don't like. I'm telling you right now, if you're the kind of person who knows that your government is corrupt, knows that they're lying to you, but all you do is just listen to shows and don't do your own research, I don't like you. In fact, to me, you're part of the problem. In fact, you are the problem. The masses who don't know there's anything wrong, you can't blame them for not doing anything about it. They don't know anything's wrong. They just wake up, they take a shit, they go to work, they buy some crap they don't need on the way home from work to fill their empty, meaningless lives. Then they go to sleep. They don't know anything's wrong. But those of you who know that something wrong and you're not doing anything about it, man, to me, you're the scum of the earth. I'll say it straight up. And I don't care how many subscribers I lose about that. If you know that you're being lied to, if you know that we're all being lied to and deceived, and you're doing nothing to improve yourself and to help improve the lives of others, even if just by spreading information, studying and spreading information, if you're not doing that, then to me, you're scum, okay? And if you don't like that, I don't care because I don't like you. So get the fuck out of here. So So to answer your question, cognitive dissonance, if it's just entertainment to most and you know that, why do you waste your time? Well, it's not wasting my time because there is still a small group of people who are getting something from what I'm doing, and I'm still getting something from what they're doing. A video here, an idea there, podcasts. I listen to lots of podcasts. I'm still getting good information. Not as much as I used to, because obviously the further you go down this rabbit hole, if you like, of genuine skepticism, questioning everything you've been told, the further you get down that line, obviously the less and less useful information you're going to hear, relatively speaking. I can listen to a 2-hour podcast now. The same podcast a year ago, I would have been spending half the show going, holy crap, this is amazing. I need to research this. Now I'm just sitting going, yep, whatever. But then ding, somebody will say something and I'll be like, holy shit, hadn't thought of that. Something to research. So I'm still getting something out of being involved in all of this. And hopefully people are still getting something out of what I'm doing. And then the other aspect is, like I said, by being involved in this, by doing videos, by having to present my ideas, my information, it's forcing me to be more rigorous in what I'm doing. So I'm benefiting from it personally. So why do I still do this? Because I still get something from it, and I think I will continue to get something from it. It's an amazing tool. I keep saying this. We've got this amazing tool. Anyone with even a cheapo computer can put their thoughts down in audio-visual format, upload it to a website for free, then anyone can check it out. That is amazing. And I think many people, they're comfortably numb. They're just numb to what's available to them. It's just, oh yeah, I can just broadcast my thoughts to the entire world in audio-visual format, which is a very efficient way for getting ideas out there. But I'd rather just sit around, smoke a bowl, and watch some fucking South Park, And it's like, man, I feel sorry for these people. It's like, really? You've got this amazing thing you just, whatever, do whatever you want. I don't care. I don't really care, man. Most people are going to waste their lives. There's nothing I can do about that. Now, and before any of you, insecure, weed smoking every day people get upset by that. Hey, I love the herbs, okay? I love it. I wish it was legal. It should be legal. And I've got a lot of good stuff from getting on the herbs and watching this, listening to this, hanging out with these people. The herbs are an amazing thing. But let's not kid ourselves. There are lots of people out there right now, and they've allowed the herbs to become what dictates the rest of their life. And it's very sad to me. Very, very sad. And they can't see that this is actually having a bad effect on them. And it's like, yeah, man, of course. You can just make heaps of the herb. It's not going to physically harm you, at least if it is. There's no evidence for that, of course. And sure, even psychologically, like a lot of people can do it regularly, and they're still fine. They're still functioning. There's no problem. But it does take up a lot of time for a lot of people. And time is one thing you'll never get back. Never. I mean, I'm 28, so I'm still relatively young, right? But already I think to myself, man, I've wasted a lot of time. Have I been more productive than most people around me? Yeah, easily. But I shouldn't be comparing myself to those around me. I'm surrounded by a bunch of brain dead morons, you know what I mean? So to be more productive with my life and to learn things faster and to try and get to the truth of this whole existence faster than them, big fucking deal, man. It's like, so what, The reality is I've been given this amazing opportunity on this earth. I don't know how long for. We never know how long we've got. And I should be using my time more effectively, more productively. I think I have been, especially this year. I mean, I've still managed to put out a lot of content, but this is really my side project. This is my hobby. I've actually got other things that I do with my life. I feel like I'm using my time better now, and hopefully I can continue to improve myself. I've got a long way to go, but hopefully I can continue to improve myself and use the time that I've been given on this amazing place we call Earth more efficiently. Because at the end of the day, I think we are all going to be judged. I don't believe in like the Christian narrative or any of that nonsense. I don't believe in any of that. I just do believe that this is maybe not a test, but this is something. We've been given something amazing here. And those people who sit around wasting it, they'll have to answer to something. Even if that something is just themselves on their deathbeds, they're going to have to answer to it. And hey, if they can answer honestly, yeah, I used my time well, then good luck to them. But I suspect a lot of people, and this does include me, right now, for being honest, we're not using everything at our disposal as well as we could. And there's only one way to improve, and that's to try. So that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what got me with Jeffrey with his whole, don't use the internet, be scared of everyone, be scared of everything. Give me a fucking break, Jeffrey, man. Some of the coolest people I ever met, I met through doing this show, through doing YouTube, through doing my podcast, man. Some of the coolest people I've ever met, I met through doing this because I'm willing to meet people, right? And then you go around saying, be scared, be scared. Yeah, look, if I didn't know better, I think that was part of your agenda, Jeffrey, to scare people. Like Alex Jones, it's real, fear, they're coming to get you, Alex Jones is like, FEMA camps and all this crap. And Jeffrey's like, the paid chills. I mean, you listen to Jeffrey too, listen to him. When he's talking to me, it's a bit different, but usually listen to how he says shills. He either says it jokingly, like, the shills. Hello, everybody, except the shills. He doesn't even believe it, man. Like, come on. Anyway, and what's funny? He said that he thinks that I say stuff that I don't believe in. And I was like, all right, just give me one example. Give me one example of something that I've said on my channel that you don't think I believe in, that I'm claiming that I believe in. Just give me one example, right? Give me one example. A lot of time and effort goes into my videos. When I put it out there, you better believe that I believe in it. Whatever I've put out there, most of the videos I've been doing lately, I have to script beforehand, okay? So I script them, then I record them. And you're going to try and tell me that I don't believe in what I'm putting out? Fine. Explain what and explain why. If I'm saying that the spinning ball Earth model is based on 6 fundamental assumptions, and then from there you can use mathematics to prove the model works, if that's what I'm saying that because I've done the research and I believe it. Now, if you're saying that I don't believe that, that's fine. Why? Why would you? I'm saying I believe it. I'm showing with a video that I believe this. Why would you disagree with me? Like, what? If you think you know what I think, fine, but just why? Like, what's your evidence? It's the whole point, man. You ask people, what's your evidence? What's your evidence? Most people have got no evidence, man. Most people got no evidence for most of what they believe. That's just the reality. Now, let's keep going through the questions here. Minion1 says Tiger Dan. Obviously, there's been a big kerfuffle with Tiger Dan lately. You know what? I might even weigh into that debate later on in the show. What else have we got? Wake the Sheeple 2016 says, hello, Gypsy Girl. Wake the Sheeple. I'll give you the hot tip. That's not the real Gypsy Girl. Or at least the one that I saw wasn't. Maybe there is a real one and a fake one in the chat. Cognitive Dissonance says, Reds is book smarter than me. I will listen to him to get the official story. Okay, that's a very good comment. That's very fair. You know what? That episode 11 of the Ball Air Skeptic Roundtable, guess what? I did learn things about the official model that night. There were things that they brought up where I was like, okay, interesting. Because here's the thing. Their model is based on a whole bunch of assumptions, and then from the assumptions, you can then use mathematics to prove the rest of their case, okay? I knew a couple of their assumptions, and that's what I was working. I was like, you guys can have the maths. I'm sure your maths checks out. That's not an issue. The issue is the assumptions, right? But I didn't know that they could use their theory of gravity to try and prove that the spin must be here. Because you see what they do is they say, well, on a geocentric model, the planets move further away from Earth, but it's the same force that's working on them. So the mass of the Earth must be changing, which is impossible, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So you're even trying to use your assumptions about the Earth's weight and the distance to the planets as proof that we must be spinning because of gravity. So I was like, so you actually take the assumptions and use them even more than I thought you used them. I was like, that's very interesting, you see. So, yeah, listen to these people, listen to their official story, and then go and double check it for yourself to see if you can find any problems with it. When it comes to spinning ball earth theory, oh my God, you'll find a lot of problems if you're thinking. Okay, if you're thinking, you'll find problems. If you've bought into the false dichotomy of spinning ball versus flat earth, then obviously you're not thinking, and you're probably not going to find any problems with whichever model it is that you believe in. That's just how false dichotomies work. You believe in your model or your version of events, and then you defend it, and then you attack the other side, and hey, you've just been played like a sucker, just like most people are on the earth today. So let's carry on. But my point is, Cogdis, here's the thing, bro. You and I agree about so much, and yet you want to focus on where we disagree. Why? Because my boy Gino trolled you a few months ago? Man, get over it. Fuck. You go around trolling people all the time. Gino trolls you once, and you've been carrying on like a child ever since, man. You're better than this, man. You're the same age as me, for fuck's sakes. Now, where are we? Senseless over there in Perth says, hey, Jono, how you doing, Senseless? Good to see you, mate. I want to see more videos from you, dude. Let's see some more of your beautiful South American maths videos. Let's see. Minion One says RR is an idiot. Well, the thing is, he actually is intelligent in a way. Like, he is good at memorizing and regurgitating doctrine, right? That's how he got to uni. He might even be good at a good uni. I'm not sure. He might be doing well at a good uni. I don't know what his story is, but the point is, I can tell from listening to that guy, he's like a lot of guys who I went through school and through university with. They're very good at memorizing and regurgitating doctrine, and that's all the modern education system is all about. It's not about teaching you how to critically analyze things. I mean, if you want to, in Australia, right, if you want to take logic, that's basically, you have to take philosophy at university, right? They're not teaching logic at high school. There's no course of logic that I'm aware of. Certainly the school that I went to, there's no logic. So I went through, 13 years of school. We have a preparatory year, then we have 6 years of primary school, then we have 6 years of high school. So the average person's going through 13 years. And so far as I'm aware, at least in the public system, which is what I went through, not a single course in logic. Now, there's a reason for that, right? You want to learn actual logic, how to analyze arguments properly, how to learn how to truly question things. You've got to take philosophy. And who takes philosophy at university, right? Like a small group of people. I think a lot of philosophy departments, in my country at least, they're dying as it is. Like most people, they're doing a lot of education. They're not learning how to question or how to think. It's pretty incredible when you think about it, until you understand what the gig is all about. Now, Red's rhetoric, is he good at regurgitating the doctrine he's been given? Yes. Yes, he is. I agree about that. But he's got two big problems. Firstly, he's not questioning the doctrine. He's a complete believer, a devout devotee. And the second problem is he's so immature. You know what I mean? Like he's just got this massive chip on his shoulder, man. I don't know if it's because he was like bullied at high school, and you know, and sort of his justice was doing better at school, getting a better job, and it's like, haha, bullies, you know, who turned out better? It was me. Like, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if maybe if he was like the youngest brother, and his older brothers always pick. Look, I don't know. I'm not. I usually don't like those armchair psychologists, so I shouldn't be doing it myself right now. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there must be a reason why he carries on the way he. Maybe he's just watched too much TV. Like maybe if you watch enough television, you can just be programmed to. I mean, you listen to that guy. Some of the straw man fake analogies. Like, listen to him, and he'll be like, "What you just said would be like if I said that if I go to KFC and order a buck of 15 pieces of chickens, then when it comes after 11 minutes, it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, just let's look at the evidence. Stop with your stupid straw man false analogies. Let's just look at the evidence." But he's just very sarcastic, and it's just a very yucky way to be, in my opinion. And before anyone says, "Oh, why don't you invite him on to defend himself?" I did. It's called the Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable, episode 11. We invited him on. I spoke to him for an hour before the episode because I didn't know who this guy was. Like, you go through the entire Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable season, I didn't know most of the YouTubers who we had on the show, right? I didn't book them. It was Matrix and David who booked them. And they'd be like, "Oh, we've got this guy coming on week 5, this guy coming on week 6. And a couple of them I did know, right? Like Eric Dubé, I was looking forward to that one big time because I used to be a huge fan of Eric Dubé. And then obviously I knew of Jeranism. He had been making some good videos, so I'd seen some of his work. So I knew a few of them. But generally, I was just researching in the day of the show, getting my little introduction stuff ready, and then talking to them, right? Because I've never been involved in watching all these videos the way that most people are. I mean, it seems to me most of the Flat Earth devotees, they're watching literally hours of YouTube every day. I'm serious there. I believe there are Flat Earth devotees, many of them. They're literally watching hours if not every day, most days, whenever they can. This is a huge thing for them. So they're watching hours and hours and hours. They know who Red's Rhetoric is. They know who Mare Zilla is. I got no idea who that guy is. In fact, Mare Zilla came on to our show on episode 11. I didn't know he was coming. I said Red could bring a friend, and he did, so I'm not complaining about that. But he brings this Mare Zilla guy. Apparently, Matrix and David both know him. I've never heard of the guy. Got no idea who this guy is. As far as I'm concerned, we're meant to be just sitting down, having a chat. You guys present your proof of a flat Earth. We'll see if we can find problems with it. You guys provide your evidence for the spinning ball Earth. We'll see if we can find problems with it. And then we'll go from there, like even Jeffrey just then. I mean, how's this? That Jeffrey guy who has dedicated several shows to just attacking me, saying terrible things about me, threatening to curb stomp me, all kinds of shit, right? I can still just sit down and have a chat with him. And yeah, it got a little bit heated at certain points there, like a little bit, but for the most part, we got through the 2 hours, no issues. And yet these spinning ball Earthers, apparently our only disagreement is they believe that we live on a giant spinning ball and that they can prove it. And we don't believe that. And yet they take that as an excuse to treat us like enemies, carry on like fools. It's a very, very embarrassing display from the spinning ballers on episode 11. And the point is, Red's Rhetoric had his chance. And what did he do with it? He could have come along and said, hey, listen, flat earthers, I know you really believe in what you're doing. Here's why I don't agree. Here's a spinning ball Earth model. I'll try and explain it to you as best as I can. And if you don't accept that, then that's up to you. This is all I can do to try and help you, right? He could have done that. You know what I mean? Imagine letting me go onto a spinning ball Earth hangout and explain to them why I don't believe in their assumptions. And imagine saying that I can just have 15 minutes of free air to get an opening statement in, and then I can just hang around and chat with them for another hour or two. Imagine if you did that, man. Do you think I'd go on there and start saying, well, oh, you spinning ball Earthers, you're not good at maths and and what kind of a moron would do that? Like, what's your agenda? But that's what he did. That's what Mare Zilla did. They decided to come on. And of course, their whole strategy backfired big time because all of a sudden, the flat earthers who were meant to be the stupid ones, well, guess what? David and Matrix were both very well behaved on that show. And then, of course, even though I've never called myself a flat earther, some people see me that way, but I was very polite as well. I let them talk. They got it was meant to be a 15-minute intro. They just carried on for 45 minutes, man. It was messed. And then they complained about that too, would you believe? Anyway, so where was I? I kind of lost my train of thought there. Oh, yeah, episode 11. So, yeah, Red's Rhetoric had his chance. Now, if someone said, John, check out Red's latest video, he seems like he's grown up. I mean, I don't even know how old that guy is, right? At first, I thought he must be late teens, early 20s, but sometimes people's voices can be deceptive. That guy might even be older than me for all I know. I don't know, just the way he carried on. I was like, man, this is what happens when you let immature people come on the show. And, of course, Mare Zilla, who is definitely older than me. I've seen him on video. He could be, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s, 50s, fucked if I know, but he's older than me. He carried on like a fool as well. And this is what gets me. Why is everyone carrying on like a fool? Why can't you just sit down and say, right, look, got some notes here, bang. What have you got to say for yourself? 5 minutes. All right. Take some notes. Okay, well, you said this, actually this. You said this, actually this. You said that, actually that, blah, blah, blah. All right, I've said what I want to say. Now you get to have a turn. How is that so hard? You know what I mean? Have we always been this stupid and immature that even the people who put themselves forward as prominent voices can't just sit down and have gentlemanly discussions? How do we get this fucking stupid? Is it just TV that's done this? Is it the breakdown of the fabric of society that's done this? Is it the breakdown of the family unit that's done this? I don't know. Has it always been this way? I don't know. But, man, I would love it if I could find a spinning ball earther who was like the spinning ball earth version of me, right? And a flat earther who was like the flat earth version of me. And the three of us could just sit down, the flat earther, the spinner, and the skeptic, just sit down and have a chat. You know what I mean? Have a bit of a laugh. Take it easy. That'd be great. But I tried that with these flat earthers. With the spinning ball earthers on episode 11. And look what they did. You know, they embarrassed themselves. They embarrassed the entire spinning ball earth model. Terrible stuff. But, you know, I'm always, listen, the way I see it, anyone who truly means well, I'll give a second chance. And the thing with Red's Rhetoric is I think that guy has a lot of growing up to do. But I believe his intentions are actually genuine. I think he genuinely does believe in the entire doctrine that he's been given, that we live on a giant spinning ball, used to be inhabited by giant lizard birds 66 million years ago. We evolved from something that came out of the primordial soup when lightning struck. And then, you know, he believes all that crap, right? He truly believes it. And so he sees the flat earthers as either really misguided and or misguiding others. So he thinks he's doing a favor. He thinks he's doing a favor. And then his just natural personality or disposition is to act like a fuckwit. So that's why he acts like a fuckwit. But I don't think he's acting like a fuckwit to be a fuckwit. I think that's just how he is. But his actual intentions, I think, probably are pure. So if he was to get in touch and say, listen, JLB, I still think you're a fuckwit, but if you want to do a proper show, we can just sit down for an hour. I will promise not to act like a dickhead. If you promise not to act like a dickhead, we'll give each other equal time. Well, do you want to have a chat? I'd say, sure, let's do it. I've got no problem with that. Mind you, I'd go into it still expecting him to get upset when I point out that he's got no evidence that the things in the sky are solid physical objects. I was still expecting to get upset about that. If I point out that there's got no evidence that there's a thing called space that's a vacuum that's attached to our so-called atmosphere, if I was to point this out, he'd probably get angry, probably get upset, but I would be more than happy to give him the opportunity. I don't hold grudges. I do get frustrated, man. It's like, what's wrong with these people? You know what I mean? What is wrong with these people? Just going on the offensives against each other, instead of just taking a step back and going, right, this person probably means well. They disagree with me. Let's find out why they disagree. What's the central thing we disagree about? Is it something where we might be able to show the other person they don't have all the information available at hand? If not, all right, fine, we disagree. Let's move on with our lives. It's a beautiful earth that we live on. He's got his views. She's got her views. Whatever. End of the day, something put us all here. You guys think it was a big bang that put us here. Other people think that God created the whole thing in 7 days. People like me have no fucking idea how we got here. The point is we're all here. It's a beautiful place to be living. You know what I mean? Yes, society's breaking down, and yes, they're trying to make white people like me extinct, and then they'll move on to all the other groups, and they'll just have a big mishmash of like a one big, mongrelized race and all of that. Yeah, that's all terrible. I agree. But the earth itself is still a beautiful thing. And the idea of wasting your time making enemies out of people just because you disagree about what exactly it is that we live on, it's just it's ridiculous, man. Honestly, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to articulate just how ridiculous I think all of this is. But anyway, we'll move on. 53 live listeners, I appreciate that. Now, let's see. Oh, boy, the chat's going too quick, so I'll see if I can find where I was. Ball Earth Skeptic Shills Are Us. I think that might be one of Osman's accounts. I'm not sure. He says the JLB versus Jeff C is as sweet as a 90s rap battle. Oh, isn't that nice? That's lovely. All right, let's carry on then, shall we? Yeah, so again, guys, look, I don't even know if I'm going to leave this one on my channel because, without the context, it might not make as much sense. And obviously, usually, I try and present myself in a certain way that will still be listenable in 5 or 10 years. I don't swear. I try and talk a certain way, and I don't sort of open up about my feelings about a certain topic at a certain time. Like if I'm heavily frustrated by what's going on, generally I try not to let that come through. But today I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Who cares? Who gives a shit, mate? This is just me being me, and you don't like it, you can fuck off. How's that sound? Now, what do you believe then, John? Nothing. See, that's just silly. Like, that I don't believe in nothing. You know what I mean? Like, all right, look out there, over there. Look at this. That's the door of the room that I'm in. Right out there, there's some pebbles, and then out there, there's some trees, and then, if I looked far enough, I could find some lizards. There was a snake at the front of my room the other day. Dead set. A snake. I'm not even joking, man. I don't know if it was poisonous or venomous or what the hell it was, but I'm telling you right now, a snake was chasing a lizard out the front of my... There's a room downstairs at this place that has like a patio, I guess. Anyway, there was a snake chasing a lizard around one side and the other. And I'm not kidding. Like Tom and Jerry cartoons where Tom or Jerry, the smaller one, is like running away and they keep going like back and forth over the screen. That's what it was like, man. And I actually think maybe the lizard was trolling the snake. Like he must have been like, look, I don't know what the hell was going on. But I was like, this is like a big cartoon thing. Anyway, by the end of it, the snake had actually come up to my door, was looking at me. He reared up on his back half, I guess. Like he reared up. I was like, man, I've been living in Brisbane for 5 years. I've never seen a snake out in the open like that. That's crazy. So anyway, see, I believe that snake is real. Like I saw it with my own eyes. So look, I could go on for 10 years. There's heaps of stuff I believe, bro. But what we're talking about here is the cosmology of the earth that we live on, of the earth itself. No, I do not believe that the lights in the sky are solid physical objects. I believe they might be, but I've been given no evidence that they are. Now, if you believe, and here's the thing too, and this is what I tried to explain in that video that I did last night, the thing about logic and reason and premises and conclusions. If one of your premises is that man went to the moon, and then you make an argument that that's a premise of, it doesn't matter what your conclusion is. I fundamentally disagree with that premise, and so there's no way we're going to agree on any conclusion that follows from that. But I'm also smart enough to know that I can't change your mind about the man going to the moon. If you believe man went to the moon, I can't help you. That's fine. Believe that. Like that's, I'm not gonna sit there and try and change your mind. I'll be wasting both of our time, and I'm not gonna mock you, and say, oh, you believe in the moon, whatever. Da-da-da-da. I'll do my own show, my own channel where I get to say what I think. And yeah, I think if you believe in the moon landings, you're a fool. Of course, I believe that. But if I meet you out on the streets and we're having a chat and you believe in the moon landings, like, all right, that's fair. What else? What else is going on in your life? You know what I mean? Let's talk about something else that isn't completely and utterly absurd. You know what I mean? I'll do my best. So if you do believe in the moon landings, okay, the lights in the sky are solid physical objects and man can walk there. Okay. But if you don't believe in that nonsense, then all of a sudden you've got no evidence that the lights in the sky are solid physical objects. You've got zero. And I made that video a few days ago, the 6 key assumptions of the spinning ball Earth model. So far as I know, no one's come out and rebutted that or debunked that. Those are their assumptions, okay? Those are their assumptions. It's that simple. They have these 6 assumptions that they depend on for the spinning ball Earth cosmology. And if you're happy to take all of those assumptions on face value, fine. Because here's the thing, once you take those 6 assumptions, you can use mathematics to prove, in inverted commas, that we live on a giant spinning ball. You can. In fact, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show people, maybe not for another week or two, I'm pretty busy, but eventually I'm going to make a video showing how, if you accept those 6 assumptions, then their model checks out, right? And that's what gets me too. I still hear flat earthers saying, why don't we see parallax? And it's like, well, because of the stars, right? It's like, because on their model, those stars are so far away that you wouldn't see parallax. Like, what you're doing is taking their assumptions for granted, even if just for the sake of argument, and then arguing with what follows from that. Well, that's just stupid. Like, on their model, the stars are really far away, so you wouldn't see parallax. That's just a terrible argument against the spinning ball Earth model. In fact, if you're going to accept the 6 assumptions, then more or less every argument against the spinning ball Earth model falls apart. Once you take those 6 assumptions, if you believe that some dude 2,000 years ago could measure the circumference of the Earth, and that some dude 200 years ago could determine the weight with heavy balls hanging from your shed roof, and if you take for granted the idea that the lights in the sky are solid physical objects, and if you take for granted that between us and those objects there is an empty vacuum of space, and if you take for granted that there's this thing called gravity, which attracts those physical objects up in the night sky, the same as things supposedly attracted to Earth here, and if you accept that the distance between Earth and those physical objects can be known through the transit of Venus, with those 6 assumptions, if you take those, then yes, you can use mathematics to prove the spinning ball Earth model. You can, and like I said, I'll make a video proving that at some point in the future. But anyway, my old mate Cogdis says, so what do you believe, John? Nothing? Well, that's just a stupid question, man. This is what I'm talking about. You're acting like Red's Rhetoric now, asking stupid questions. Now, let's carry on. Sans Bravo Sierra says agreeing with JLB right now. Oh, that's cool. Let's keep on going. Too much LSD. Sav79 says, all hands on deck. This show is raw and unscripted. Get ready for the delusional to jump ship or sink. Oh, yes, Sav, I'm ready, bro. I've got 2,500 subs on my main channel and 600 on this one. And I think within 3 months, that should be less than 2,000 and less than 500, respectively. I would think the main channel will almost certainly lose subscribers. That maybe the backup one might, even though it'll be losing some, it might be gaining out. It's hard to predict. But the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people are going to be lost from this, and I'm not going to miss a single one of them for a single second. Now, Cog Dis says you are not the arbiter of truth, John. I agree with you. This is what I'm saying. Me and Cog Dis, man, Tim Osmond is what I'm talking about. We agree about heaps of shit. In fact, I'll tell you this. I did a Skype call with Timmy Osmond and Fake Space Cadet. Might have been 2 months ago now, 3 months, man. I don't know. Time goes so quick, especially this time of year. But, man, we were able to sit there and agree on a whole ton of things. You know what I mean? Like, I believe Timmy Osmond's intentions are pure. All right? Same with Adam Moyer. Same with Ed Upside Down Head. I believe all 3 of them are genuinely just regular guys. They're not paid shills. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You disagree with anyone now, and it's like, oh, well, you're a paid shill. You know, that's what the meme has done. The paid shill meme has basically rotted people's minds out from within. And some of us were able to sort of cut out the rot and get on with regenerating normal thought. But for a lot of people, they're too far gone. Everyone who they don't like is a paid shill, despite the complete lack of evidence. No evidence that Timmy Osmond is paid to do what he does. No evidence that Moyer or Ed Upside Down are paid to do what they do. But people are going to call them paid shills because, hey, you disagree with us, so you're a paid shill. That's what we're dealing with here, right? So anyway, those 3 guys, there's no reason to believe they're paid shills. They're just regular dudes. They got sucked into the flat earth thing. Now they realize that they were completely hoodwinked by that. Now they're lashing out against some of the leading flat earthers. They don't seem to realize that when you leave a cult, you're leaving the cult. There's no in between. You don't take people from the cult with you, okay? You leave the cult, you can put up posters around the church of the cult and try and plant seeds in people's minds. Lord knows that I've been doing that for months now. But in terms of trying to take people from the cult with you, come on, guys, you should be smarter than this. You leave a cult, you're not holding anyone's hands and dragging them out of there, okay? They're there for a reason, and most of them, they're going to stay there till the church burns down, okay? Now, you might decide that you're going to burn down the church, but there's more of them than there are of you, okay? There's 3 of you guys, all right? And the Flat Earth cult has literally hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So you guys think you're going to bring it down? Man, talk about ego. No offense, guys, but talk about ego, seriously. It's like, come on, boys. Just take a month off, man. Go and relax a little bit. Realize that at the end of the day, we're talking about a tiny little corner of the internet. It's really not that important in the grand scheme. Get back to nature, chill out a little bit. You'll come back refreshed and you'll be much more effective. Whatever you set your mind to, you're going to be much more effective if you do it when you're not still blinded by your hatred of the flat earth leaders, man. You need to understand a lot of those flat earth leaders, they fully believe all the stuff they're saying. Do you know what I mean? So they, in the same way that even though I disagree with your methods, I can see that your intentions are good. A lot of those flat earth leaders, man, I disagree with what they're doing, but if they actually fully believe in the flat earth thing and that it's going to change the world, you know, I can't knock them for that. I can show where they're wrong. I can show where their flat earth arguments are wrong. And again, like I tried to explain to old mate Jeffrey, I've been doing that right from the start. Most of you haven't noticed it. That's because most of you aren't paying attention. But I get feedback from people. I get emails from people. I get messages from people. I know there's a small group of people who've been paying attention. And those people, they're not angry at me, all right? They're not angry at anybody, okay? Because they saw this a long time ago. And you guys have only just woken up to it. Hey, listen, you don't just wake up to something and then come and get angry at people for not waking you up, okay? The rest of us have got other things to do, okay? No one can hold your hand on this little thing, all right? We're all looking for the truth. I don't have the truth. I decided a fair while ago that the evidence said spinning ball earth model is crap. I knew that the foolish thing to do was to jump straight onto flat earth, okay? I'd already worked that out. Now, did I get sucked into flat earth a little bit? Yes, I did. And there's one argument in particular that I've got a video coming out where I'm going to say, hey, listen, guys, there's an argument that the flat earth is used. I used to believe in it. I propagated it. I fucked up, all right? And it's one of the very few flat earth arguments that I used to believe in. But I did get sucked in. I have to open up and be honest about it. Got sucked in. It's a crap argument. Here's the evidence. Here's the actual evidence that it's a crap argument, by the way. I'm not just saying it, but saying, look, here's the maths. You want to argue with the maths? Come at me, but you're not going to succeed. Here's the maths. Here's the point I'm making. It's a shit argument. Flat earth argument debunked. I'll put my hand up. They sucked me in. So, but even though they sucked me into a couple of arguments, they never sucked me into their little movement or into their little cults. I was happy just to sit there and watch it. And of course, there was an overlap there because flat earthers consider spinning ball earth model. I mean, they can see it. Most of them just believe it. They can't see shit. But the ones who really believe in flat earth, one of the things that makes them believe in flat earth is they know the spinning ball earth model is crap, right? Well, guess what? I agree with them about that. And like I've been explaining to people for a long time now, I look for the overlap, okay? You might believe the earth is flat. That's up to you, whatever. Well, guess what? I don't believe in the spinning ball earth model. There's a little bit of an overlap there. Let's do a show for 2 hours focusing on the overlap rather than focusing on the disagreements. You know what I mean? Call me old-fashioned. So that's what I did. And I'm proud of that. That Ball Let's Get the Roundtable show, I'm very proud of it, even though now I've got to go back, listen to every single one, and then find anything that I said that I no longer agree with and make a correction. You know what I mean? That's what I have to do. That's part of being an honest researcher, is going back, admitting when you got something wrong. And there were a couple of things I did. They were flat earth arguments. They weren't the flat earth theory. And if you can find evidence of me saying to people, no, the flat earth theory is correct, and if you can find that evidence, bring it to me. But you can't find the evidence. It doesn't exist. And it's as simple as that. So let's carry on. If you're just joining us late, this is Jeffrey vs. JLB Aftershow live. And I've got with me 0 special guests. I might change that in the future, see how I feel. It's about 2 p.m. here, Brisbane time. And I don't know what I'm doing with myself tonight. I've got a few things I could be doing. I haven't really decided yet. I might go for a bit of a walk and listen to some podcasts, actually. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get back onto the show. Let's have a look. I'm just reading the live comments here, by the way. The live chat's just going too quick, man. What's going on here? Well, yeah. This is what I mean. This is why I wouldn't be looking to keep this one as an archive show, like I said. So there's a few big names as far as comment sections go in the live chat. We've got Joven Trendmaker, we've got Humphrey B. Bear. Humphrey B. Bear says that concave will stay a laughing matter while Lord Stephen Christ is promoting it. Yeah, that's another thing too on the Ball Earth show. I used to always say to people, Ball Earth Skeptic show, obviously, used to say to people, listen, I haven't even looked into concave Earth, so how can I sit here and call myself how can people sit here and call themselves flat earthers until they've looked at all the different prominent models? Do you know what I mean? I still to this day haven't spent much time looking into the concave Earth. I'll tell you the truth, to this day, still haven't spent much time looking into it. One day, it's on my list of things to look into, you know what I mean? But I once said to a guy who was big on the concave, I'm like, all right, but what's your best piece of evidence? Like, hit me with it. And he's like, the rectilinear experiment. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. And he's like, oh, well, they did this experiment. And I'm like, who's they? What the fuck are you talking about? Is it what? So it was one experiment? Have you done it? Well, that's even worse than the scientism spinning ball model, because at least with scientism spinning ball, you can actually go out there and use shadows, measure angles, and so long as you accept all of their assumptions, you can actually do experiments that can tell you how far away supposedly the sun is. Do you know what I mean? If you accept all of their assumptions, you can actually do this, or at least you can try. You know what I mean? Have you even tried to do the concave Earth rectilinear experiment? I mean, if you have, by the way, I'll put my hand up and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But my understanding is people talk about the rectilinear, but they've never done it. You know what I mean? So that's just crap. What else have you got for concave Earth? Oh, well, it's not flat and it's not a ball. So it's like, so it's the old, false, in this case, like a false trichotomy. So it's not a spinning ball. It's not flat, so it must be concave. These arguments just fall apart so quickly. But again, I am speaking out of ignorance. I haven't looked into the concave Earth model all that far, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt. Maybe the biggest concave Earth, Lord Stephen Christ, maybe he's the real deal. You know what I mean? Yeah, all right. Now, let's have a look. Supreme Lord Pretzel says that BZ Troll Talk is one of the best. I think they're talking about all the sock accounts. And hey, thank you to Cogdis for not filling the comment section with stupid trolling. This is something I actually first became familiar with Tim Osman ages ago, man. It might have even been before Transasia. I can't remember. But anyway, he was just explaining how he trolls like Robert J. Morrison because they just talk shit. But he leaves my ARP, back then had the ARP, how he leaves that show alone. And he's like, well, they at least try to talk about real information and not be dickheads, so I leave them alone. And I'm like, what he's saying is if you have a show that's basically just trolling the audience, then he's going to troll the live chat. And that's the thing that always made sense to me from the start. I'm not saying I agree with it, but you've got to try and see where people are coming from. Now, Joven Trendmaker says JLB is ignoring me. No, I'm not. I'm doing nothing of the sort. Do you guys know how difficult it is? You guys should try doing this, man. Try doing a live show, going through the comments, trying to articulate thoughts. Especially, man, I woke up, I had just enough time to have a drink of water, sit down, write a couple of notes. Next thing I'm live on the air with Jeffrey. This show's been a year in the making. Do a show with him for 2.5 hours, go and have a shower, come back, start doing this show, man. And this is a Saturday, man. It was a huge week as well. I was up until like 3 o'clock pretty much every morning. I'd get home from work, sit down, have dinner, then make a YouTube video, man. I've got a backlog of YouTube videos. So I'm sleeping like 5 hours a night. So I'm pretty fucking exhausted. So, bear with me is what I'm trying to say. Now, Stephen James says, why not put the globe model to a test, how you actually test shit? Download Stellarium and please disprove the globe by observations. This would be incredible and not a logical fallacy appeal. Yeah, okay, I can see where Steve James is coming from. The point I would make is that when I'm talking about the spinning ball model, I'm including the cosmology. So what he's talking about is observations. The observations of what we see in the night sky, you don't need gravity for that. In fact, if you go back to Johannes Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion, well, they were developed like the early 1600s. That was before the theory of gravity had ever seen the light of day. And this is all going by official history, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. But you can have an understanding and observations in a model that works without gravity and without all the crap that comes with spinning ball Earth model, okay? And we did have that. Like I said, Johann Kepler had his 3 laws of planetary motion, but that is a kinematic model, if you like. That is, it explains the apparent motions. It doesn't explain the physical forces that might be at play if what you're looking at are physical objects. That's what we call a dynamic model. And that was another thing too. Hearing the spinning ball Earth is explained that on Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable episode 11, getting them to go through their explanation, even though they could have done a better job of keeping it to time and trying to explain each step along the way. Because the thing with the baller skeptic, the ballers, I'll just call them the ballers. From now on, when I say ballers, I'm talking about Mare and Reds, okay? They openly admitted that they wanted to confound the listener with mathematics. I don't think Red literally used the word confound. It might have been confuse, bombard, whatever. They openly admitted they weren't coming to explain themselves in a way that people could understand. They were coming to use lots of big numbers and lots of formulas because they know that most people are scared of mathematics. I mean, that's the reality today. Most people today, most adults today are scared of mathematics. Why? The same reason why they're scared of anything. You're always scared of what you don't understand. In mathematics, most people are fucking clueless with it. I mean, even me, I had to go back and revise my maths from first year uni and from high school when I wanted to do my Ball Earth maths series. I was like, fuck, man, this is embarrassing. The trigonometric formulas, I was like, fuck, man, I know these, but if you gave me my year 12 maths exam right now, I'd struggle. You know what I mean? Or at least I would have prior to doing the Ball Earth maths series, had to go back and revise all of that shit. Because when else are you using it, man? It's been 10 years, right? But I was happy to go back and do the revisions to do my series. These guys knew they come along to our live show, use heaps of math, heaps of formulas, and they know it will confound the listeners. And I know that at least in a few examples it works. Like my boy Gino, man, he watched that episode and he was like, afterwards, he's like, oh yeah, that was those guys, they seem pretty smart. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, oh, all their maths, they seem to know what they're talking about. It's like, and Gino, he's a cool guy, man. He's one of the smartest dudes I've met, to be honest with you, because he's a genuine skeptic. He was happy to be skeptical of the spinning ball Earth model. Then he was happy to be skeptical of the flat Earth model. Sadly, now he seems to be leaning towards spinning ball Earth cosmology, just because I guess it's easier than not having a model. Because people like me, I'm like, I don't know where the fuck we live. I don't know where we came from. I don't know what this is all about. I'm cool, whatever, man. I can go out tonight and have fun. I don't need to have a belief about where I came from to enjoy where I am. But most people do. They need something, even if they know there's problems with it. They'll still go with it. That's why the false dichotomy is so powerful, so useful, so effective. So Gino, he's probably leaning back towards spinning ball Earth cosmology now, but he put him on the spot and he'll try and wriggle because he knows deep down. But anyway, the point of my story is even Gino, who I think is a smart guy, after that Besser 11, he said, yeah, man, he was pretty convinced by the confounding numbers. And that's the thing is they know this, man. Like, I've got it written down somewhere. Where's my script? I can't be able to find it. What is it? Mars weighs like, 6 point whatever times 10 to the 23 kilos and all this kind of crap. Like, don't quote me on that, but you get what I'm saying. These big numbers and these formulas, they scare people and people are like, must be real. You know what I mean? Lots of numbers, lots of formulas, must be real. You know what I mean? They won't spend the time to look into it. Well, I'm telling you right now, I've looked into it. The maths isn't that difficult, okay? And the maths checks out. You accept their assumptions, their model checks out, okay? Now, I did get a little bit sidetracked there. Oh, where were we? Oh, yeah, Stephen James. Now, James, what I'm trying to say to you, bro, is that, yeah, I think in a kinematic sense, the spinning ball model, maybe not the spinning ball model, the ball model does, if you just put aside the spin, because we don't spin, okay? You don't feel spin. It's fucking silly. But the idea that we're on a ball is still possible. It would just mean that the heavens, spin around us. Definitely possible, but that's just a kinematic model, a kinematic explanation for what we see in the sky. The spinning ball Earth cosmology is so much more than that. It's those lights that you see, not only can we predict where they're going to be, just like we've been able to for hundreds of years, but also they're physical, solid, and you can even land people there. You know what I mean? That's a whole other kettle of fish. It's nonsense. Anyway, where were we? I tell you what, Timmy Osmond's got a good taste in music. If you recommend me a tune, I'll put myself on. I'll put some tunes on. Go and get a break, get some water, and come back a little bit refreshed. Now, where are we? I'll read out a few more comments. Here's what I'm going to do. It's 2 o'clock here, Brisbane time. I have actually said some pretty critical things of some guys who I think are probably good guys. I'm talking about Tim Osmond, Adam, and Ed Upside Down Head. You guys, you want to come on this show, you're welcome to come on, and we can all have a chat. The only condition is going to be, if you want to come on and try and say that Mark Sargent's a shill or Patricia Steele's a shill or Jeranism's a shill, or I'm not interested, okay? You want to get bogged down in personalities. If you think that that's a good use of your time, fine. Go and waste your time somewhere else. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is the actual models of the Earth on which we live, the evidence that supports them, the reasoning that supports them. If you guys want to come on and discuss that, you're more than welcome, okay? And I'll be happy to shut up. In fact, I'll put myself on mute and just shut up for 20 minutes, okay? I'm quite happy not to talk anymore. You guys come on and we can talk about that shit. you're more than welcome. I'm even happy to have a discussion like a sociological or the psychological impacts of the flat earth cult, okay, without looking at the specific leaders and what their motives are, just looking at what has happened from a sociological perspective, a meta perspective. I'm even happy to discuss that with you guys, but I'm just not interested in discussing who is or isn't a shill, because I think it's wasting time, like our old friend Jeffrey. You're buying into a narrative that can't actually help you in any way. It makes far more sense, even if people are paid shills or that they're nefarious, it makes far more sense to focus on the information than on the personalities, okay, straight up. So there's the conditions. You want to come on, you'll be welcome, you get to speak, you can reply to everything I've said, totally sweet. We can talk about the models of the earth. We can even talk about the psychological aspects of the flat earth cult. But if you just want to come on and slander people, I couldn't be less interested. Take it elsewhere. So I'll put the ball in your court. You tell me what you think. I'll read out a couple more comments while I'm waiting for your responses. And I'm going to need one of you to add me on Skype because Timmy Osmond deleted me. He's had a thing against me ever since my boy Gino trolled him. And it's like, come on, man. It's like, man, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a troll. Occasionally you're going to get trolled, man. Live by the sword, die by the sword. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things I miss about cricket was, there was this respect that people had. If somebody gets you out with a good ball, fuck, man, well bowled, Like during the game, you might not say that. You'll just walk off and whatever. But after the game, man, you're having a beer after the game, whatever. Fuck, mate, that was a ripper. Oh, yeah, man, you got a good one. You know what I mean? It's like there's a respect for one another. Well, guess what, dude? You're one of YouTube's leading trolls. You should have respect for other people when they manage to hit you with a good troll, which my boy Gino did. So it's time to get over it. So moving on. Let's keep on reading these comments then. Joven Trendmaker. JLB don't talk about Jeff so much. He feeds off you talking about him. I don't know if he does. That might be true. I mean, he talks about me a lot, you know what I mean? And he misrepresents me. He says that I was trying to take money off people for that flight. Like, that's the complete opposite of what happened. People were offering me money. I could have made money. And that was one of the first things that got me very wizened up to this flat earth thing, was that I noticed that when I said, hey, I'm thinking of taking this flight to South America, I had people contact me saying, I want to contribute, man, which was awesome. Thank you so much to those people who did. I contacted each one afterwards to say, thank you for the offer. I'm not going to take you up on it. But I was thinking, man, if I've got a few $100s worth of offers, and I haven't even really tried to plug this thing, like I never plugged it, I just mentioned it in passing on a show once, I probably could get a free flight to South America out of this. And I was like, I mean, that'd be cool. But if there's that much interest out there in flat earth, then how much money could other people be making who are plugging their stuff? Do you see what I'm saying? And I was like, this is all very interesting. So, yeah, the point of my story is Jeffrey says that I was taking people's money, the complete opposite of the truth, which is often the case with old mate Jeffrey. Now, where are we? Muzz Buzz. Just skimmed the great debate, saw Jeff try and make a point on balls using Wiki. Oh, yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? So Jeffrey's like, and here's the thing too, I took credit for Ball Earth Skeptic, the terminology, the phraseology of it. Man, I took credit for that ages ago on a Fakeologist audio chat. Those of you who follow my work, if you're not following the podcast or the audios that I do on Fakeologist, you're missing out. Because like a lot of what Jeff brought up tonight was months behind what I was discussing openly with Fakeologist ages ago. It's like, Jeffrey, is this the best you got, bro? Like, man, for someone who's obsessed with me, why aren't you following my stuff on Fakeologist, man? You could have used all of this against me. You would have failed anyway, but at least you would have been up to date. He's using outdated stuff. I said ages ago, listen, I can't take credit for Ball Earth. I got that from Eric Dubé. I don't know who he got it from. But Ball Earth Skeptic, yeah, that was me. And I'm actually quite proud of that one. I think that's pretty clever. I wish I had have used spinning Ball Earth more at the time, because now I think actually we might very well be living on a ball, but it's not spinning. That much is obvious. But there are other models that can be used to explain this. Maybe I'll chat more about this with some potential guests later on in the show. But my point is, yeah, so Jeffrey's like, oh, I can prove. I've got a theory that you intentionally used Ball Earth Skeptic because it mocks. And I was like, what do you mean? Like that? Of course that's what I did, you idiot. Like, is this the best you've got on me? Fuck, man, it's obvious I was doing that. I've already taken credit for it. It was a very clever little thing that I did. I'm quite proud of it. And I don't usually go around bragging about things, but I was like, well, since you're trying to say that I did that, I'm going to tell you right now, I actually did do that. That's exactly what I did. But it's even better than that, because I've now got Ball Earth Skeptic out there, and many people are calling themselves Ball Earth Skeptics. And guess what? Everyone should be a Ball Earth Skeptic, because they say that we live on a ball. Anyway, Jeffrey comes along and he's like, oh, you're using ball, but the Earth's not a ball. And I'm like, okay, then what's your evidence? His evidence is a Wikipedia page that talks about what balls are. In the top paragraph, the opening section, it actually says, because balls are the most common thing that's spherical that people use, people often use the term ball to describe any object that's spherical. I was like, Jeffrey, you've just rolled yourself, you fucking idiot. On your own screen share, you have just rolled your own argument. And then he tried to like weasel out of it, wriggle out of it. I'm like, Jeffrey, mate, it's over. All right. Just that was a line of attack that you had planned. It didn't work. Own up to it, move on. That's a smart thing to do. To try and wriggle out of it like that, I was like, man, it was sad, really, is what it was. It was sad. Okay. I would prefer to learn. I'm being quite serious here. I would honestly prefer to learn that Jeffrey actually is a paid shill and that this is just a job that he does and whatever. I would rather that be the truth and learn that he's actually just some regular guy living out in some part of Canada and he actually believes everything he says and all of his emotions are real and that his little meltdowns are genuine nervous breakdowns and like that'd be really fucking sad. I would much be happier if I learned that Jeffrey was a paid shill. I'm being quite serious here, but I'd be much happier knowing that. It also means that maybe we are having an impact. Like if I have to actually pay people like Jeffrey to come down here, then maybe we're having more of an impact. So trust me, guys, I would be quite happy to learn that Jeffrey C is a paid shill. The point I'm trying to make to you guys is we've got no evidence that guy's paid. We've got no evidence that anyone's paid. You see what I'm saying? And we're not that big. What are we, a few thousand people? I mean, hey, to the agencies, if you are listening, if you're sending down people here to mislead us, then I take that as a compliment. But and I used to believe that, but no, not anymore. Once you apply skepticism to the whole thing, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, where are we? Going through the list of comments. Oh, Nathan Oakley, 1980. I have been in touch with Nathan, and hopefully we can tee up a time to maybe touch base. In fact, maybe Nathan even wants to come on this show tonight. You're welcome, Nathan. How's that for an invitation? What is it now? Must be, Friday morning, early Friday morning over there, or Saturday morning, whatever. The point is, you're welcome on, Nathan. So get in touch if you'd like. Let's see. Oh, there's Matty V. Phuket. This Max Egan thing. I hadn't heard of that till I listened to Timmy Osmond talk about that on his show a couple of days ago. I didn't know that Egan had done. I don't follow Egan. All right. I just like Max Egan, please. All right. That's all I'll say about that. Now, let's see all these comments. Let's see. Oh, Max is a new age freak who wants world socialism. Yeah, that's a pretty fair call, I'd say. All right, so I'm going to read a couple more comments. I've got a Skype thing, so that might be someone trying to get on the show with me. A4, is that 4? Is that the same guy? A4? Adam Dwyer? Do you still work for ASIO? Yes, Adam Dwyer, I still work for ASIO. They're paying me big money. I get access to the best drugs, the best hookers. They do the best parties. I was at a party for Christmas and they had a big 33-degree Freemason. He came down to the party, man. He was, he was snorting coke off hookers' tits, and he said to us all, "Hey, listen, guys, the Earth's flat." That's what happened. So yeah, I'm working at ASIO. Look, we have a referral program. I could try and get you in. I think you're a bit mentally unstable, but get off the hard gear, and maybe I'll see if I can get you a gig at ASIO. How's that sound, A4? Yeah, sound good? Now, carrying on. JLB digs David Weiss and Jeranism. What do you mean digs them? I worked with David Weiss on the Boiler Skeptic Roundtable, and you know what? Even though he and I had disagreements, the good thing about David Weiss is you can just be honest with each other. No, neither of us gets, there were times when we would disagree behind the scenes about something. Neither of us would start, yelling at each other. I mean, sometimes we can both be a little bit smart-assed or whatever, but we had a good working relationship, you know what I mean? And I look at all the people who I see, look at all the shows that have come and gone where the people had falling outs. I mean, look at old mate Jeffrey. He's had a falling out with pretty much every person he's ever worked with the one exception being Pressy Poo. And I mean, look at Pressy Poo. He's basically just Jeff C. the light. You know what I mean? And Jeff C. is Alex Jones light. So they're like two peas in a pod, really. Other than that, Jeffrey falls out with everyone he works with. Whereas David Weiss and myself, we disagree on a ton of stuff. And the amount of things we disagree on only seems to be getting larger and larger because now it's going down the whole interdimensional aliens and all this fucking weird nonsense shit. But you know what? When I talk to him, I can just talk to him. And if he disagrees with me about something, he can just say it. You know what I mean? I respect that about the guy. I wish more people were like that. Why? I was talking about half an hour ago about how people just can't sit down and disagree. I'll tell you right now, behind the scenes, I was able to disagree with David about heaps of things. and get along fine. If he was in Brisbane, I'd be happy to buy the guy a beer. You know what I mean? No problems at all. I would enjoy hanging out with him, and I reckon we'd have a fun time. You know what I mean? He's a fun guy. Does he talk a lot of crap about stuff he can't prove? Yeah, but you know what I mean? Most people do, especially when it comes to flat Earth. So, you know what I mean? I don't hold that against him. He's a nice guy, honestly. Maybe some of you people who are always throwing out these nasty comments about people, maybe if you just took the time to get in touch with them, maybe your views would be different. You know what I mean? Maybe. Anyway. Where are we? Blah, blah, blah. All right. So, look, I can't find any more comments that need to be read out. Sorry if I missed your comments, guys. It's moving too quick. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tunes on, and I'm going to see if I can get some guys on the show. Now, I will make this very clear that I can wrap this show up whenever I want. So please, the guys who do get access to the Google Hangout link, please just show respect. Just keep the link to yourself. Come onto the show. Show respect for one another. I've got everything out of my system that I wanted to get out. I'm going to go and have a bit of a walk around my little patio area here and chill out a little bit. When I come back, I'm going to try and be a little bit more, structured in what I say. Hopefully we can have a structured conversation, minimal interruptions, let people express one another, try and avoid getting angry at each other, and stick to topic. Like I said, we can discuss what the Earth that we live on. We can discuss the meta aspects of flat Earth, the cult aspect, which there definitely is. But if you want to just come on and say, he's a shill, she's a shill, well, then just go join Jeffrey. You and Jeffrey can hang out and talk about how everyone's out to get you. It'll be a lot of fun for you guys and for all of the moronic listeners who get off on that shit. So now it's time for some music. And there's a song that I heard a little while ago. And I'll tell you what, I was this close to starting this show today with the camera turned on, dancing to this shit, and maybe in the future I will at some point. So if you just joined us late, this is, of course, Jeffrey versus JLB Aftershow. Hopefully be joined by some cool guys after the break. For the next couple of minutes, go get yourself a glass of water or go to the toilet or go and rip a bowl, whatever it is you do, and we'll be back here very shortly. You know what? How embarrassing is that? I've gone to hit play on the music, and it's shut itself on me. I'm using my phone because I can't use my computer because I'm using my microphone. Sorry about the dead air there, guys. I hate dead air. Hate dead air. And look what I've just done. I've given you 10 seconds of it. I do apologize. Let's try this again, shall we? VLC Media Player is not responding. Well, it's a free program. I guess you get what you pay for. And let's see. Let's close it and try again. This phone's a piece of shit. Damn, I love music. All right, well, I'll just think of something to talk about for a second. Let's see. Where were we? Yes. So, other side. What's going on here, man? See, the problem is the microphone that I use is a Samsung Media. It's like this tiny little microphone. It's pretty cool, actually. But when I run that through Google Hangouts, I can't also play music through my computer because it comes through my earphones. I can't get around that. So I've got to play my music through my phone, and now VLC Media Player on the phone isn't working. What the hell is going on here? All right, let's try again, shall we? Oh, you piece of shit. Oh, I'm very frustrated by this. Very frustrated. Maybe if I turn the phone off, maybe that's the way to do it. Yep. Just shut it down, man. Shut it down. Shut it down. The Goyim have worked it out. Shut it down. All right. Well, let's have a look. All right, then. Well, good news. We get another 2 minutes of me reading out comments while I wait for my phone to get itself going again. Let's see. What have we got here? Yeah, I think that is A4, man. I think that is, dude. Hey, listen, Adam, I did make a pretty serious dig at you before about being on the gear. But seriously, I hope you are off the gear, and I hope you're taking care of yourself, man. And, yeah, I think there was one time you were on the Sunday sessions. You're actually a nice guy to talk to, man. Like, I think deep down you're a nice guy. Just for some reason, you allow the YouTube so-called truth community to fuck with your mind, and sometimes you lash out, man. It's not good for you, you know? You're basically like a much, much, much less articulate version of JC. Yeah, all right. So I've almost got the old phone ready to get going. Yeah, this music, I heard this song for the first time, not too long ago, and it's quickly become a favorite of mine, actually. Might be using it more often from now on. I'm going to make it my new theme song as soon as this hunk of shit phone gets going. Yeah, anyway, where was I? So, yes, what are we up to now? 2:20. Oh, yeah, guess what time it is here? 2:23. Yeah. What are the odds? All right, so I'll get these boys on the show. Hopefully, if they want to join me, maybe they don't. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe do another hour or so, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. I did so many videos this week, and now I've done a show with Jeffrey, and now this show of my own. I've got a few scripts that I've been working on for videos, but you know what? It might be time just to have a bit of a break. I think I've done enough. I've done my part. That's all I can say. All right, now here's that music I've been promising for 5 minutes. I do apologize for the technical. Oh yeah, by the way, can someone get in touch with ASIO and tell them that if they're going to send, their best young agent down to YouTube to do whatever I'm doing down here, the least they can do is give me a fucking producer. You know what I mean? That's the least they can do. So please send your feedback to Asia and just say, hey guys, come on, this letting John LeBon be his own producer, it's not working. He's not coping with the poor tech. Yeah, I'll be back.
It can be easy holding fast to our dreams. City to city, moving at the same speed. Beauty is in me, looking for the in-between. It doesn't take just anything to bring out the extreme. We live to keep going. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead at a force out. We run and go. For us it's in our phone. It's run and go. We live to keep going. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead at a force out. We run and go. For us it's in our phone. It's run and go. It's running. It's running.
Okay, so that was the break. We're back for the final little bit of the JLB Jeffrey debate discussion after show. Call whatever you want, who cares? And hope you've got something out of this show. I know that I have. I wanted to get a few things off my chest. And I wanted to give people a chance, if they wanted to join me on the show. Now, I've just gotten the word through that the big three of anti-Flat Earth can't join me tonight. It sounds like one of them is already predisposed with better things to do, which is perfectly fine. We've all got families that do deserve our attention, arguably more so than the so-called truth community. And then the other couple aren't too interested in joining anymore. So that's fine by me. The opportunity was there. They decided not to take it. That's perfectly fine. No more needs to be said about that. So it's time for me to start giving my final thoughts on what has been a huge day and really a huge 18 months. I mean, one of my regrets was that I didn't get a chance to do like a year in review. I would have loved to have done a year in review of 2015 because it was a truly amazing year for me personally, both in terms of what happened with the so-called truth community. Bearing in mind, of course, as I've explained, I did believe that it was a community prior to TransAsia. Okay, I bought into that. I bought into all of that, and I don't blame myself for that. I mean, it's, sometimes you've got to learn these things the hard way. And the benefit was I learned about all this the hard way with the hoax busting community. So when this flat earth thing came along, I saw it from a mile away. You know what I mean? I didn't get sucked in. So, and here's the thing. A lot of people right now, they've realized that they've been sucked into a flat earth cult and they're thinking, well, what do I do now? Like, where do I go from here? The first thing you've got to do is just be honest with yourself about what you can actually prove. And once you do that, everything else will follow from that. You don't need to be embarrassed. Look, we've all gotten fooled by things. There is no question in my mind that I currently believe things that I will eventually disprove. I don't know what they are yet, but I believe them. There's no way that I've got a perfect grasp on things right now. No way No way. Just simple as that, right? So it's just a matter of saying sometimes you get things wrong. You got to own up to it, especially if you're doing what I do, which is presenting information. It's especially important that people like me come out and say, hey, listen, did a video. Here's where I was wrong about that. Here's what I now believe. Very important. But that's part of the process, guys. So long as you're honest about it from the start, so long as you tell people, listen, I don't have all the answers. Here's what I've found so far. Do your own research. There's a small percentage of people who actually matter. They'll get where you're coming from. They'll respect it. It'll all be sweet. So my advice to those of you who are out there, if you have believed always that you live in a giant spinning ball, and tonight with Jeffrey was the first time you've heard someone like me say, I don't believe the earth is flat. In fact, I've done more to debunk the flat earth than most of you jokers have. But it doesn't mean that I believe in the giant spinning ball either. I believe in neither. If this is the first time you've been exposed to that kind of thinking, well, hey, this doesn't come easily. It might take you a bit of time to get your head around this, but eventually you'll get the idea. Now, just give me a second. I'm getting contacted by someone who might have changed his mind. Maybe he does want to join me. So we'll give this a try. We'll see how it all pans out. I can't promise anything from here. We'll see what happens. So let me send this message through. And I might be joined in a moment. Now, I will let you know that the person is about to join us. I've never spoken with him. As far as I know, I might be wrong. Maybe I have. But as far as I remember, I've never spoken to him on or offline. We have sent back a couple of email messages a fair while ago, but I've never spoken to him. And that's actually one of the things that I've done with my channels is that I have invited people on to talk about things, people I've never spoken with in the past before. You know what I mean? And it's usually worked out okay. Usually, it's worked out perfectly fine. People come on, they're happy to chat, they're happy to get their voice out there. I've still got a very tiny YouTube channel now. It's had 2,000 people, 2,500 people. But for a lot of people, their channels are only up to 10, 20, 50. So the chance to come and chat with an audience of hundreds, it's a great opportunity for them. It's an opportunity that Jeffrey gave me back when I was just starting out. So I'm happy to give people the opportunity to come and chat. And then from there, it's up to you. You get an audience of a few hundred people who you want to get your ideas out to. Well, you take the opportunity to do what you can. If you speak sense, you'll get through to the people who matter. If you speak about gossip and drama, you'll get through to the people who don't matter. It's really up to you. So with all of that said, I want to say a warm welcome and introduction to Adam, who has just joined us for the last part of this show. Adam, I've never had the pleasure of meeting you, so hello to you, and how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, John. Actually, I've been listening to you for a long time, so it's actually kind of exciting to talk to you, believe it or not. We've had, like you said, some emails back and forth, comment section things, poking at each other, things like that. But it's exciting to actually talk to you. I appreciate you giving me the link.
Oh, no, the pleasure's all mine, my friend, and hopefully we can have a good chat for the last part of this show. Now, obviously, for those who aren't aware, you recently did a show with Tim Osman and Ed Upside Down. In fact, you did two shows. One of them was, I guess, impromptu a few days ago where you were talking about the Flat Earth cult, and then you organized a show for a day or two ago. We were in different time zones, but say 2 days ago for 9 p.m. American time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a lot of the prominent Flat Earth people had decided to do their own show at the exact same time. Now, I left a comment on one of your videos saying, if I were you, I would see this as a massive strategic victory. Once you get, because you see those people as your opponents, right? Once you get your opponent to start moving to your music, start dancing to your tune, that's when you know you're having an impact. So I thought you guys should have been happy with that. But then I listened to your show after theirs, and by the end of it, man, I felt like I was walking out of a funeral.
Yeah, well, I will be honest with you. We got off the show at the end, and when we ended it live, and we were just so burnt out. You have to understand, a lot of that research that we shared was like 6 months, 7 months of looking at a lot of stuff, and then all in one night we organized this thing to get it all out there. And by the end of the show, I heard what you said about how you leave the cult mentality and you can't expect to just rip people out. And nobody's ever said that before. And when you said that, it got me thinking, but it's just because we care. And I wasn't trying to say that these people definitely are this or that, but I just had to share the research because I feel like people should know it and, just determine for themselves.
Yeah, I understand that. And look, let me say, even though I disagree with the method that you and your two compadres have gone about doing all of this with, I do believe your intent is good. So why don't you spend a few minutes? I want to put myself on mute and just chill out here for a second. So for those who aren't already aware, do you want to just give a basic rundown of how you got into all of this in the first place? So I guess the progress you went through with your thinking and where you're at right now with regards to the flat earth, ball earth topic, whatever it is, feel free to give people a background and I'll shut up for a minute.
Well, I guess I came into this around the same time as everybody else, sometime last year. And, you're just looking at different YouTube videos. I guess my dad, when I was younger, always watching history with him, documentaries. So you're into that kind of stuff. And, I'm always watching YouTube videos, trying to find truth, just see what's what, researching stuff on the internet, trying to check the stuff with the videos. And, it just got pulled up on my recommended, actually. I was looking at Nazis in Antarctica, stuff like that, and I look over to the right and I see Hollow Earth. So, let me give this a shot. And then I see Flat Earth. And I'm like, wow, I've heard about this before. But, that kind of stuff you hear about the Flat Earth Society where it rises 3 meters every few seconds to account for gravity, wherever it's constantly rising, or you'll fall off the edge. And I had seen stuff on science channels, years back, just making it seem so ridiculous. You kind of just pass it off. But one night I figured, whatever, I'll give a video a try. So I watched one, and just like everybody else, you start seeing the things. You can't feel the spin. You can't see the spin. You can't see the curvature. The laser tests don't add up, and all those things, and you just start telling yourself, it just doesn't make sense. How's that possible? It should be so easy to prove that it's a globe, So that's kind of your way of thinking going into it. I decided to make my first video, which I don't know if you saw it then, which was more about people psyoping us before we, put in quotation marks around the truther movement, almost making jokes of ourselves, and that they purposely did that to us, and that we should all look at flat Earth. And, so I was really into it. And like I said, a lot of the physical things that you can't see, you can't feel, and it just really starts asking questions. So you start digging, you see different things about the stars, things like that. And then next thing you know, you're just wrapped up in all these people that are just throwing this information at you. And I'm listening to Boylan for 2.5 hours, and then this and that. And I think you just start to want to believe. And they do this thing, John, where they take everything from you. I don't know if anybody else feels this way that's listening, but it's almost like once you think it's flat, everything is fake, So, and once they do that, you start looking at all the research, watching experiments. And the thing about the experiments is it's so hard, and I think you would agree with this, to do any real experiments that can really prove anything, like what we were talking about with the boats. It's very tough to organize something like that. I mean, somebody was making a point that you wouldn't even have to be all the way in Antarctica. You could probably be at the 10-degree line, loop around, and find out and end the debate that way. But I mean, it's so hard to do anything physical. And as of right now, like I said, we have a working model with real maps that I've used my whole life before GPS. And when I was able to stop looking at flat Earth for a while and pull myself out of it, become unemotional, not look at these people as my friends. I was on Facebook with Patricia. I was friends with her. Everything they said, when you're friends with them, you just want to believe anything they say, I think. And like you said, taking things at face value earlier, John, that people watch videos and take things at face value and don't do research. And you get caught up in that, and you get caught up in your confirmation bias. Next thing you know, you're telling other people. And like I said, when I was able to remove myself from it unemotionally and really start looking at the fact that there's a working model with real maps that I've used my whole life. My dad calculated distances, taught me how to get places with maps. He would reset the odometer. We would drive to the shore. It would be the exact amount of mileage he said it would be. And that kind of thing, like, hey, if the maps aren't real, how's that possible? Different things like that started to just not make sense to me. So,
yeah, I get what you're saying. So basically, you were, I guess, involved in the online so-called truth community before Flat Earth came along. Is that right?
Just watching more videos. A lot of the times before that, I was just watching 9/11 videos, Sandy Hook videos. I didn't really start making comments. I didn't even have a name I didn't have a channel. I didn't have a name, a picture. And I didn't decide to start making comments till around that time. And that's when it said name. And I just put my name. I didn't think anything of it, making a different name. And then when I put my picture on it, my dog is sick. and we had that picture down the shore. So I linked it on my G Plus, and I didn't even realize that it was just gonna link straight to my YouTube. So there it is now, and that's just the way it is, you know. So if I change it now, people
don't worry about that, man. Look, eventually, like I said to Jeffrey tonight, man, eventually my slave name is going to come out. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of surprised it's taken this long for someone to actually successfully dox me, but eventually it'll happen. My name will get out there, and then maybe I can start like a Patreon account, because I don't really want to start a Patreon under John LeBon. I just don't think that's appropriate. But eventually, the slave name will come out. I can start a Patreon under the slave name, and life will go on. I might have some issues at work, but you know, I'll deal with those when they come. But for the time being, it is what it is. Who cares? Whatever. Now, getting back to your story, you understand that when I was chatting with Jeffrey tonight, before any of the flat Earth came along, there was a hoax busting community. There was a truth community. He was the biggest guy involved in it. We're talking almost 400 live listeners for one of their shows, several thousand listens, and it was getting bigger than just YouTube. Like I said, there was a guy who made his own Hoaxopedia website. There was a New Year's or a whatever special, and the whole thing felt like a genuine community, right? And you do begin to see these people as your friends. And it's only later when you start questioning them on things that you realize these people aren't your friends at all. And so when you say to me that you kind of bought into the idea that Patricia was your friend and you were Facebooking people, I think to myself, man, I can totally relate to that. I didn't go through that with Flat Earth, which is maybe when I criticize you and the other two, maybe I'm being a bit, maybe that's not fair of me, because, hey, I went through the same thing, but not with Flat Earth. I went through it with the hoax busting community. So I probably am being a bit too harsh on you guys when I criticize you. I do hope, though, that you can see where I'm coming from here. You guys have gone from Flat Earth to now you're trying to rip Flat Earth away from other people. And it seems to me like you haven't really thought through the process here. I mean, can I ask you when you guys decided to do that podcast the other night, which I did listen to, by the way, I listened to the whole thing. When you did that, like what are you actually hoping to achieve when you do this kind of thing?
It's a hard question to ask, man. To answer, when you care, I guess you get wrapped up in just wanting to help people see that, you know, they're being, listen, like I've said before, I just don't, if they want to say that they like it because it feels good and it's religious and they makes them feel spiritual and they can't prove it. But if they want to run around and, you know, tell thousands of people that it's 100% real and it's true, and, you know, people get sucked down this rabbit hole, that's all we're trying to stop. I guess that was the meaning of it, you know, just to show people.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So it sounds like what you're saying to me is basically the way you see it, you got sucked into it. Now you feel as though these people are deceiving others and you're trying to help other people. I fully get all of that. But once you've established that your goal is to help other people not get sucked in, then you got to start thinking about your strategy, right? Like it's goal, strategy, tactics, right? People don't get taught about this for a reason, but whenever you're trying to achieve something and you have what you think is an opponent, you've got to think is what's my goal? What's my strategy? What's my tactic, in that order? So if your goal is to help people not get sucked into a flat earth cult, why would your strategy be to go after the cult leaders? Like, what do you hope to achieve from doing that?
Well, we just found it very strange, you know, because I listened to all the videos, like I said, and I just found it very strange to me that no one had ever mentioned the Mason connection with that. That's all. I'm not saying anybody is one, this, that. I'm just saying I found it strange that these group of real researchers never, you know, saw that. And it was very frustrating that they never told you that. And to me, it raises red flags that why are they telling you they're hiding it from you? And they've all said that, a lot of them multiple times. But yeah, and they're telling you they're real researchers, but you can find all that stuff very easily and it's very verified. Why wouldn't they tell you that? You know, and I guess, you know, John, I understand what you're saying about the tactics. I guess you do get caught up in emotion. Nobody's saying that you don't. But those were the first shows we ever did. You know what I mean? I don't have any prior experience in doing live shows or anything like that. So it just really was off the cuff, the first one. And then the second one, we put together a little bit of a format. But like I said, you know, we were just rookies at putting together a show. So.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to criticize you here, man, but there's a point that I'm getting at here. And that is, once you understand what you're dealing with, then you can either decide to charge against it head first and just say, right, the information's on our side, we're going to hit these people. Or you can think to yourself, actually, these people believe in the flat earth because they're ignoring information. Do you know what I mean? like as a mathematical distant map, if you believe that the AE, it's not even a map, it's a projection. If you believe that that is an honest representation of the earth on which you live, then you're ignoring information, okay? So taking people who are ignoring information and trying to change what they do with information, you're beating your head against the wall, okay? And if you are dealing with a cult, well, guess what one of the main things that cults do is? It is to build an in-group versus an out-group mentality, whereby anyone who criticizes the group, and especially anyone who criticizes a leader, they're a heretic, they're an enemy, they're of the devil, okay? And so when you guys decide to come out against the leaders like Sargent or Steer or whoever, all you're going to do is solidify in the mind of the cult followers that the cult followers are right. See, they're attacking us. We're trying to give you the truth. We're trying to take you to salvation. And they're attacking us. And of course, what cult leaders do is they say any attack on the leaders, that's an attack on you, flock. Flock, look what they're doing outside the gates. They're attacking us, your leaders. They're attacking us. They're attacking you. Do you see what I'm saying here? So
I know. I absolutely understand what you're saying.
So I listened to your podcast and I was like, this is going to be good. You guys are going to sit down, and Ed said that he's going to debunk the flat earth. And I'm like, good, because I've been slowly but surely debunking some very bad flat earth arguments for quite a lot of time now. Some people don't seem to have worked out what I'm doing, but to me, it's been pretty obvious. I'm debunking every bad argument. Turns out there's plenty for spinning ball earth model. Turns out there's plenty for flat earth model, right? So I've been debunking the shitty flat earth arguments for a long time. And I thought, hey, I'm going to listen to you guys. You're going to debunk some bad flat earth arguments. We're going to start people to start questioning the beliefs that are based on the information, right? If people aren't going to question, they're not going to question. But the people who are still questioning things, let's give them the other side of the information. And
just be honest, that website, just real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, has been out since May. I mean, we didn't put the website together. That website that we gave people the link had been out since May. So it's not, that's information that someone else put together. And then I spent months and hours combing through it and checking it and doing things like that. And then we sat on that website for months. I mean, we could have been linking that around the entire community for a long time, and we decided not to, so. I mean,
But can you see what I'm saying though? Like your info. Okay, I should be clear here. Your information is about the leaders. Well, guess what? People have already bought into the leaders, so that's a done deal right now. Okay, it doesn't matter what you have to say about the leaders. The leaders are the leaders, right? That's how cults work. What I'm saying is, these people, a lot of these people are telling themselves that they believe in the cult because it's got research on its side, right? Scientific evidence on its side. So why not just focus on the lack of evidence? You're not going to pull anyone out of the cult, but at least a few of them who are still worth saving, there's something there for them to chomp onto. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you here?
I absolutely see what you're trying to say, John. I do. And to be honest with you, we weren't even going to do another show like that. That's why at the end we were so, we were emotionally exhausted. You could actually feel it when listening to it, So we weren't going to do another show like that. We were actually trying to set up a debate for Moordial and Red's Rhetoric to just, go at it. We were just going to moderate. It's not, we weren't going to attack anymore. We're just now going to just keep going for proofs. And like I said, we would like to try and get people to link their GoFundMe accounts to get 2 boats to do that type of experiment, or to take the physical plane rides. I mean, John, you told them you took the plane ride. You showed them the itinerary. I listened to your podcast earlier in the week. Okay. And you were telling a story about how you tried to show them in the background on one of the Ball of Skeptic shows, and they didn't even want to, they just ignore you. So.
Yeah. And so what I was doing over the course of that 12-week season, right? Hold on, I'm getting some feedback there. Yeah, so what I was doing over the course of the 12-week season was I was sitting down with people, and insofar as we could, we were getting along, destroying the spinning ball earth model. Because I'm telling you right now, if you and Ed and Tim want to go back to the other side of the false dichotomy, I'm not even going to try and stop you. Like, I can't. If that's what you want to do, I can't help you. But for me personally, spinning ball earth model is more dead now than it was 6 months ago, okay? So I was happy to sit down with them and talk about the problems of spinning ball earth model. But all along, every little while, I was just putting in little things there, little seeds, little things that people who were paying attention could notice. Now, it turns I was expecting a much greater percentage of people to work out, hey, the flat earth does have some problems. The Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable are telling us there's at least 1 or 2 problems every episode that they're mentioning, right? At the time, I thought maybe it might be closer to 50% of people would work out, hey, both models are crap. Turns out we're lucky if 5% do. The vast majority of the listeners have either disappeared or they've gone on to join the cult, okay? But that's not my fault. Anyone who wants to join a cult, you're not going to stop them, man. And anyone who says otherwise, show me. Show me when you've had a member of your family or one of your friends who wants to join a cult. And there are many different types of cults. Show me someone who's decided they're going to join. Show me how you stop them, okay? And bear in mind, my listeners, they're just listeners. They just listen to me, man. I'm not in control of them. They can do whatever they want, you know what I mean? And most of them are just listening for something to listen to. I can't decide where they go. Now, look, if I could go back 12 months knowing what I know now, would I have done things differently? Of course, but that's true for everything in my life. At the time, all I could do is I could say, hey, the spinning ball earth model is shit. This deserves to be debunked. And I think we did a great job on that show debunking it. But anyone who wants to sit there and say that I pretended to be a flat earther, not only is that wrong, I can prove that the opposite is true. All throughout that season, I was pointing out problems with the flat earth, okay? And people couldn't see it. I can't help them see it, man.
Can I tell you what it is? When people are in flat earth and they're watching that show, because I was, it's the confirmation bias, and you just want to believe that you're with it. I mean, and that's when you're in it, that's kind of how it sounds like. And that is the honest to God truth, okay? But what for me, the most frustrating thing is this, and I want to ask you this because I asked you a few times in chat, but we weren't able to get to it. It's this. If you had a 30-pound rock, okay, would you try and take a year to prove to me that the rock wasn't 20 pounds? Or would you just weigh it out and show me it was 30 pounds and the debate would be over and done with? You know what I mean? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, it sounds like you're going down the path of a Red's rhetoric with crazy straw man false analogies. Like, what point are you trying to make to me, dude? Like, what are you saying?
No, not to you. I was asking you the question. What I'm saying is that to me, it's like, I just want to see, like, let's do the boat experiment. Let's all take the physical plane rides. Let's shift the GoFundMe accounts. I'll donate some money. We'll get cameras on, GoCams or whatever. We'll timestamp it. We'll stream it. And we'll just, get it done so people can actually see. And I think people would like to see that. I'm not like a hooked on the ball, man. To me, I'm here. It's not going to change. If it's one way or the other, I'm still going to be here. But I would just like to physically see these things. I think it'd be really cool. And I think some people don't want to do the things I'm talking about because they're too scared that it wouldn't be the results they want. Does that make sense?
Let me give you two responses to that. The first one with regards to actually getting out and doing experiments. I agree with you, man. I would love it if people were getting out doing experiments. And the funny thing is that back during the middle of last year when the Ball Skeptic Roundtable was going, people were getting out there doing experiments, like the cold moonlight experiments, man. There were new videos about that coming up seemingly every day, right? People getting out. And the really cool thing was they all had different ways of, can I just put you on mute there, man? I keep getting feedback, right?
You're good.
Can you just put yourself on mute when I'm talking? Otherwise, it fucks up the audio. It really pisses me off, right? So anyway, people had all different types of apparatus and methods for doing the experiment, right? Like I had the 3 cheap outdoor like hardware thermometers. There were people buying the electronic thermometers, putting them in buckets, using a shade cloth to shade one bucket. And like it was really cool just from this idea of, hey, here are these people. They might be spending 10, 50, $100, whatever it costs them. They're putting aside an afternoon or an evening to see if they can measure cold moonlight. Like that was really cool shit. This was about the middle of last year. Now there's no experiments being done. And the people leading the Flat Earth cult openly admit they don't even do any research. They openly admit it. They just watch YouTube videos. They're like, oh, it's not up to me to do the research or the experiments. I'll let other people do that. But they openly admit it, okay? So once you've got a little movement where the leaders openly admit that they're not doing experiments, if you're a genuine researcher, you walk away, right? You walk away. Anyone who hasn't walked away yet, man, there's nothing you or I can do to help them. Nothing. Straight up nothing, right? That's my first point. My second point, with the idea of doing all of these experiments or to prove this or to prove that, what I want to know is why are you so still emotionally invested in it? It's like, okay, you worked out that the flat earth thing was a cult. Like, why do you need to know whether it's flat or a giant spinning ball? How come you can't just spend a few months just saying, well, both models are crap. Maybe I'll help my mind freshen up by focusing on another topic for a while. Maybe it's time to put that one aside. I can still think about it from time to time. Don't have to prove it right now. I'll just think about it from time to time, move on to something else, and I'll be sweet. Now, it looks like I've lost him. It looks like Adam's dropped out, which is a shame. If I hear from him within 5 minutes, we'll get him back on. But otherwise, that's it. That's it for the show. So anyway, yeah, that was Adam. Seems like a really cool guy. And I listened to his podcast with Tim and with Ed. I'm telling you, I'm pretty confident their motives are pure, but I don't think they know exactly what they're trying to achieve. And that's the goal. They don't know exactly how they're going to achieve it, which is a strategy. And they don't really know what they ought to do along the way with the strategy, and that's the tactics. And it's a real shame. And sadly, there's a false dichotomy going on right now. And it's been pretty clear to a lot of us for a while. And I was actually hoping to chat about this with Jeffrey on his show tonight. I was like, Jeffrey, man, this is before the show, like before he pressed start broadcast. I was like, Jeff, listen, man, hope you're not planning to have a fight, because I'm not planning to fight tonight, dude. We'll just have a chat. I'm going to disagree with you about the paid shills thing, but when it comes to the flat earth, you and I actually have a lot of things in common on that one. And he decided he wanted to spend the entire show talking about the psyop and the shills. And once you take a step back from that nonsense, it really is pathetic. But I spent some of the time on the show saying, here are the problems with the flat earth maps, the flat earth models, the flat earth theory. It's chock full of problems. And a lot of people turn around and they say, oh, well, then it must be a giant spinning ball. And I say, well, I can't help you. Okay, if you are that fucking stupid that you can know they give you a false dichotomy, Labor versus Liberal, Democrats versus Republicans, Tories versus Labor, whatever 2 or 3 parties are your false dichotomy up there in Canada, whatever. If you know that they do this, that they intentionally divide people down along almost arbitrary lines and then get the people to fight amongst each other, if you can know that, but you can't see they're doing the same thing with flat earth, or that the same thing is happening, whether it's from above or below, it doesn't matter who's responsible for it. If you can't see that the same thing is happening with flat earth, with giant spinning ball, I can't help you. And that's one of the points that I really want you to take away from this show that I'm doing right now is I can't help you. The only person who can help you, no matter who you are, is you. If you want to help yourself, you'll help yourself. If you want to analyze who you are, what you are, why you're here, all that, you'll do that. If you don't want to do that, you'll let other people give you the answers. I can't help you. All I can do, and all I've been doing for 18 months, is sitting down and going, right, here's my research, here's my questions, here's my views. Now they're out there. Go and do your own research. And there's not much more I can do than that, other than if I ever discover that I'm wrong about something, going back and correcting myself. And it is true. There was a particular flat earth argument that I did buy into. I've sat down, I've done the maths, doesn't work out, so I'm going to have to debunk that argument myself. And that's the other funny thing too is, how come of all these people on YouTube who believe in a community, how come it's, I mean, really, I feel like I'm the only person who's actually debunked flat earth and ball earth. Who else is debunking both? No one, right? Everyone's picking a side and then attacking the other side. I'm sitting there saying, hey guys, I don't care if I'm the only person on what we call earth who doesn't believe in flat or giant spinning ball. If I can't prove that either are real, I'm not going to believe in either. That's what skepticism is all about, saying, hey, I don't have to believe in anything. I'll only believe in what I can prove. The spinning ball earth thing is based on 6 assumptions, each one of them to me ridiculous, but you only need to prove that one of them's crap. The whole thing falls apart. As for flat earth, they don't even have a working model. So many of their arguments are easily debunked. And then when you debunk them, do they come around and say, oh, I was wrong about that? No, most of them just double down and keep pushing the same nonsense. So, hey, it's up to you guys. You want to keep listening to people pushing nonsense about a giant spinning ball like Old Mate Reds and Mare Zilla? Go for it. Yes, I will mock you. Yes, if you check out my channel, there'll be videos mocking you. Just ignore my channel. If you want to be a giant spinning ball earther and you don't like getting mocked, ignore my channel, forget my channel, unsubscribe from my channel. Good luck with your life. Maybe we'll cross paths again. I hope that we do. I've got nothing against you. All the best. Thumbs up. Seriously, I wish you well. On the other hand, if you're a genuine flat earther, you actually think the earth is flat, you actually think that can be proved, you actually think that this is going to change the world and bring about salvation, all the rest of it, hey, go ahead, believe that, please. I'm not going to try and stop you. But yes, you come to my channel, you're going to find videos mocking you. Well, maybe not so much mocking, but certainly debunking you. Yes, you're going to find videos debunking you. It's as simple as that. Now, I know that many of you are going to say, but John, like I only, flat earth, it wasn't me, okay? I did the Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable. Most of what I said on that show I can completely stand by, because most of what I did on that show was debunk the spinning ball earth model. But like I said, there's 1 or 2 flat earth arguments that I got sucked into, like the building tilt one. I got sucked into that one. That's why a few months ago I released that video saying there should be no tilt, okay? Went and did the maths, found that out. And on it's going to go until I've satisfied myself that every claim that I got wrong, I've since debunked and retracted. Now, there weren't that many claims, okay? I still stand by all of my arguments against the spinning ball earth. And I'll tell you this, to be able to sit there with 2 guys who think they're so smart, right? They're spinning ball earthers. I give them an opportunity to come onto my show, Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable, episode 11. We agree to things before the show, how it's going to go down. They completely overstep the mark with everything that they do. And then, even though they've introduced stuff that I wasn't all that familiar with, to have the ability to look at their arguments and say, hold on, look at the assumption, to be able to pull the rug from underneath their feet when they came along all huff and puff. I'm very proud of that episode. I'm very proud that I was able to sit there and say, I don't give a fuck what the world thinks about me. I don't care who finds this, anyone from my high school, anyone from the future. I don't care if people find out that back when I was in my mid-20s, I was sitting there saying, hold on, you're telling me that giant spinning ball is based on the assumption that you can use your car odometer to find out the distance from here to Venus? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because if you are, I don't believe it. No, I stand by that. I'm proud of that. Absolutely, 100%. But there were a couple flat earth arguments that I did buy into. I've since debunked most of them. I've got one more to go, and then I'll be just about done. And I know that a lot of you don't want to hear this. You're not going to be happy hearing this because you're bought into the flat earth. You're probably going to try and blame me for that. That's usually what people do. When they've been deceived, they blame everyone but themselves. And if you want to do that, I can't stop you. Good luck with it. So for those of you who have bought into the flat earth, if you want to stick with the flat earth, you want to stick with the so-called movement and the cult, you want to think that all the leaders are your friends and they actually care about you, hey, maybe you're right. I can't prove that you're not right. Go ahead. Maybe this will be salvation. Maybe you guys will all be laughing at me in 5 years when flat earth has changed the world the way that your leaders have promised you it will. More likely, though, is you're going to get burnt out by the cult, just like old mate Timmy, just like Adam, just like Ed Upside Down Head. Look what's happened to them, right? Once they shook their heads and thought, hold on a second, we've bought into a cult. This is what happens to people. They get exhausted. And I know that because that's what happened to me with the shooting hoaxes, okay? It wasn't easy to accept that the shooting hoaxes was a bit of an online cult. It wasn't easy to accept, but I got stronger from it because now look at me, all right? I've been able to navigate this flat earth thing better than just about anyone else, okay? Never got sucked into the flat earth, never got sucked into the spinning ball earth or going back to the spinning ball earth. I've just said, hey, I'm going to sit down, look at the models, find the problems with the models, put it out there. That's me. That's how it's going to be. I'm very proud of that, to tell you the truth. And in fact, I never planned for it to go down this way. But having done that show with Jeffrey earlier today, where it's there for everyone to see, the guy pushes nonsense, doesn't want to talk about any of the important topics, misrepresents things, just speaks complete disinfo about me in front of me on his live show. I point out that he's wrong. He doesn't say, oh, I was misled about that. Here's why I was misled. I'm sorry I went to it again. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I was wrong about that, but now I've got something else. Fine, you want to listen to Jeffrey. You think he's going to give you the truth and that talking about Sandy Hook for the next 10 years is going to help you? Go. Good luck, man. There's not even any spite. Go. I wish you luck. I mean, there's a small chance those of you who choose spinning ball earth cult, scientism cult, or the flat earth cult, or the Jeffrey cult, whatever, you can get out of cults. It does happen. Okay, so, I wish you luck. I can't help you. I don't think anyone can help you, but maybe one day you'll realize that you've gotten, sucked into belief systems that aren't based on evidence. Maybe you realize that people have manipulated your emotions to get you to believe in things. And maybe one day you'll get yourself out of it and we can talk again, get along again. It'll be great. But for those of you who can't handle anything I've said tonight, and you want to take a break from listening to me or talking to me, that's totally cool as well. I've got no hard feelings here. I'm happy to talk to anyone, have a chat, whatever, man. I'm enjoying things, right? And then that's one more point I want to make as well, is that lately I've had a lot less time for YouTube, okay? I've been a lot more busy with other things. Now, it does mean that I'm still staying up late to finish the videos I want to finish, but that's just because I've got a backlog of videos. Like, I've got all these scripts written. Now I just want to make them. So I was up till 3 o'clock last night doing that video about logic, right? So I'm still making videos, but really just to get the backlog out of the way, like the scripts that are already written. Sooner rather than later, I'll run out of those scripts, and even I might just take a few weeks off. Not out of spite or not, oh, I'm sick of all you guys or whatever. Just, hey, sometimes you needed some time away from it. And even me, just the last few weeks, maybe the last 6 weeks, I've been really busy with other stuff. It's been good for me, you know what I mean? And I'm doing some things now. I'm getting out. I've always tried to spend some time hanging out with the masses, the proles, whatever, but lately I've been doing that a lot more. And it's reminded me, yeah, they believe some outrageously stupid shit. And yes, they've been programmed to hate anyone who says anything about certain topics, the certain topics that I think are most important. Sure. And if you want to get angry about that, you can get angry about that. But if you just try and look past it and understand they're humans just like us, they've just been programmed by television, by universities, whatever. The humans just like us, you can start to remind yourself why the fuck you got into all of this in the first place. Because there are other humans out there. You want to try and make a contribution to the earth that we all live on. And guess what? My contribution over the last 18 months has been pointing out that a lot of stuff that we believe, it's crap. And it's done me a lot of good, but at the same time, yeah, it does take a toll on you eventually. And a lot of people, even if you're not making videos, this will take a toll on you, this online stuff, right? Like, you do need some time away. I've benefited from spending less time here. I think I'll benefit from sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here. I think I'll benefit from some time away again in the future, but it won't be out of spite, it won't be out of hatred. I'll be back. If I ever disappear for a while, don't worry, I'll be back. And I love it, man. And that's another thing I want to touch on as well. Jeffrey C is telling you, be scared, don't use the internet. I'm telling you right now, like I said to him, some of the coolest people I've met have been through doing this stuff on YouTube, okay? So anyone who tells you to be afraid, always be skeptical of people who want you to be afraid, okay? Fear is a very powerful emotion. And if people can get you scared, they can get you doing things that don't make any rational sense. They can get you to not do things that do make rational sense, okay? So anyone who tells you, be scared, you're under attack, whatever, whether it's a government figure, whether it's a cult leader, whether it's some stooge on YouTube, someone tells you to be afraid, be very skeptical of that person. There's a very good chance that they themselves are either misled or they're trying to mislead you. Okay, it doesn't mean you should be scared of them. It means you should be analyzing the evidence like always, like I did with Jeffrey. Hey, Jeffrey, what's your evidence that everyone's coming to get you? Oh, an article in the mainstream media and something said by a government official. Oh, and Edward Snowden. Oh, really? That's your evidence? Oh, and I get death threats all the time. Oh, really? Like which ones? Like which ones have you shown me? I've heard you say that for 2 years now. Where are these death threats? Oh, I can document them, Jono. I can show you. I got videos. Yeah, okay. So in other words, you got no evidence. Okay, let's just get that clear. Oh, there was a police officer who slept with some women in a. Oh, yeah, that's from the mainstream as well, though. Like it could be true, but you don't even know that that's true. Like if you read that article and then on the next page of the newspaper it said that Sandy Hook 20 kids died, would you believe it? No, but you believe the other article. Yep. And you don't think you're suffering from any confirmation bias here? Nope. Okay, whatever. All right, sweet. So that's it. That's it for me for today. 3 p.m. Still got the rest of the day ahead of me and all of Sunday. Might give myself an internet ban, I think, for the next 36 hours. And maybe go for some walks. I live in a nice part of Brisbane, actually. Lots of trees around and the weather's lovely. Just heading towards the, I guess we're in the middle of summer right now, aren't we? Heading towards the, just when things start to cool down a little bit. And yeah, beautiful time to be alive. It really is. I'm feeling fantastic. I hope that you are as well. And again, no one can help you but yourself, all right? And if you're going to rely on other people to help you, well, you're going to need all the luck in the world, my friends. But if you choose to help yourself, what an amazing time to be alive. I want to say thanks to everyone for listening to me over the past couple of hours, especially those of you who listened to the first show as well. I'm sorry, I haven't even been looking at the live chat for the last few minutes. I've just been too busy just spewing shit off the top of my head. Not really much more to say. I want to say thanks again to Jeffrey for inviting me onto his show earlier today. Like I said, for the most part, he was relatively well behaved. And I think that I was as well. And hopefully people got something out of that chat. I want to say thanks to Adam for joining us on the show for that last part. It was a shame that Tim and Ed, Upside Down Head, couldn't join us as well. Maybe at some point in the future we can touch base again. I hope in between now and next time they do something online, they spend more time thinking about what it is they're trying to achieve. And that's what I've got to say about that particular topic. And yeah, as for the rest of you guys, there's heaps of videos on my extra channel. So if you haven't already subscribed or haven't already checked out the videos, check them out. That's where I'm putting most of my videos at the moment. I want to leave the main channel just for the really. I've got. There's a method to my madness. Okay, so make sure you're checking out both channels. Plenty of good stuff there. As always, leave your comments, questions, criticisms in the comment section below. I'm always available. johnthebond123@gmail.com. Get in touch with me. I'm happy to talk with anyone. Adam, I heard from him months ago, and yeah, we had like an email back and forth. Apparently, he wasn't too impressed by it. And it led him to start thinking that I was a paid shill as well. That's how far this paid shill meme has infested people's minds, by the way. It's really incredible. I used to buy into it, not anymore. Although I would love to. Please, if someone can get evidence on Jeffrey, please. I would rather believe that guy is paid to do what he does than that's actually real. Okay, I'd be much happier that way. So please, if you've got some good dirt on Jeffrey, let me know. But in the meantime, this goodbye's been rambling for a while, so it is time for me to say goodbye. And I want to say a huge thanks once again to everyone who's been involved. And don't know when I'll be back, but hopefully soon. And until then, you guys take care of yourselves. And I don't really have any more to say than that. So this is John the Bond on the 23rd of January, 2016, signing off. And yeah, like I said, until next time, guys, no one else is going to do it for you. So make sure that you take care of yourself.
Looking for the in-between. It doesn't take just anything to bring out the extreme. Need to keep score. For us it's run and go. For us it's always no. It's run and go. We think ahead of the force out. For us it's eight on phone. It's run and go. Oh, we need to keep slow. For us it's run and go. For us it's all we know. It's run and go. We think ahead of the force out. We run and go. For us it's in our phone. It's run and go. Oh, go, oh, 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 oh. It's running. It's running. running